Welcome to Braintree Town Football Club, a club that's just been relegated into the National League South, a club under a transfer embargo, and a club which honestly means a lot to me. I played here as a kid. I used to come here with a season ticket during the best years the club ever had, where Braintree were pushing towards League 2 and the whole club felt alive. But since then, things have gone severely backwards. Relegation, a transfer embargo, and it just looks like the club could be spiralling down. So today, I am stepping in as a director of football, looking to try and save my local club. That's right, I'll be doing all the transfers and trying to find the perfect managers for every single step in English football, because I'm not just saving Braintree Town, I'm taking them all the way to Champions League winners. This one is going to take an absolute age, so grab yourself some popcorn and let's get in to the director of football from the bottom of non-league to Champions League winners. And here we are then on FM26 as the director of football of Braintree Town, a club just relegated from the National League going down to the National League South, which is one of the hardest leagues to get out of in real life. Now, I've been a Braintree Town fan for a long time. They are my local club. I saw them get promoted from the National League South in 2011, and then I was there for the amazing time as a season ticket holder between the sort of years of 2011 to 2014, and then I never really stopped watching until we went to the playoffs against, I think it was Grimsby we lost, I want to say. And look at Grimsby now in League 2. Look at Braintree now going down to the National League South. A club which has been on a real roller coaster ride, nearly going all the way down into the non-leagues in 2020. And then now back up and then back down again. So our job here is going to be absolute carnage. And of course, we are loving the director of football saves on the channel. And if you guys are too, make sure you're smashing the subscribe button and liking the video, because this is going to be a roller coaster journey. Braintree Town are a club that don't have a lot of money, currently have £200,000 in the bank, but over £1 million in debt, and in real life have actually just been placed under a transfer embargo and are currently looking for outside investment because the situation's obviously not great. A club trying to survive in these leagues is really difficult, and it's almost impossible to run a football club and make profit these days. And obviously that's not something I'm interested in as the director of football, but I am interested in the finances, because I'm gonna have to try and build a team to bounce straight back up from the National League South and then up through the leagues all the way to Premier League champions. Again, please make sure you'll smash the like button and subscribing, because this is gonna take a ridiculously long time. And I mean, my first job really is to say Mr. Carl Duggard, I'm sorry, pal, I need an actual manager to be my assistant manager, because I'm not the manager. I am just the director of football. So you've got to go, pal. And I've got to try and find a new manager in non-league. I mean, these are the restrictions that I've set up. I'm looking to have a fairly young manager who is UK based, so English, Scottish, Welsh, or Northern Irish, and at least have one international appearance. And then obviously I'm not going to go and get John Terry or Steven Gerrard. Realistically, I'm looking in this lower bracket of managers. I mean, realistically, I need lower than this. I can't go and get Michael Duff as the League One manager, can I? I'm going to have to do some serious hunting to find the man that's going to save Braintree Town. And of course, once we've got the man who saved Braintree Town, we then need to go through the team, because basically every single player's contract is expiring this year, and we've got to decide what to do with these players and who is going to stay for the revival. Now, I'll be honest, that took a long time. I had to widen the searches a bit for someone which was also happy to be an assistant manager or a manager, make the squad search a little bit older, and really go through this list. But I eventually found my man. And the man I've gone with is Jamie Day. He has recently been an assistant manager at Crawley, MK Dons, and Swindon, manager of Bangladesh, Welling, and actually Braintree in 2016, I believe as an interim manager. But 10 years ago, Jamie would have been 36 years of age. So now, 10 years later, as a manager which has gone on to do his Continental A licence, plays a 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 out of possession, signs on 24 players, so obviously that's what we're going to look to do for him, and has willingness to work in the lower leagues. Jamie, you're the gaffer I'm trusting to get us out of the National League South. Of course, he hasn't been manager since he managed Bangladesh in 2021. So I'm hoping this isn't an absolute catastrophe of a signing. Now, in terms of the players here at the club, like I said, every single player, their contract is expiring. So I think the best thing I can do I'm going to go through and just offer contracts to absolutely everyone. And players are either going to ask for too much money because realistically, we've been relegated. There is no money at the club whatsoever, or they're just not going to be interested in signing. So I'm going to go through, do that now, and then see if I can somehow save this club. And I'll be entirely honest, there's not many players that have actually ended up staying at the club after I've gone through and done all the transfers. I think there's 5 or 6 players, including New Zealand international Tommy Smith, who is going to the World Cup this summer. That's pretty cool. I mean, he's got 5 pace, but he's willing to stay here at Braintree on £330 a week. And as you can see, I have built my 22-man squad, 2 players for each position. And it's taken me a long old time to get there. And actually, I'm still kind of okay in terms of finances. We've got £2,000 left if I wanted to spend in wages and 10k in transfer budget. And the overall balance is £67,000. Oh, that's awful. £67,000. But it is what it is. I did do that on purpose, I promise. If you're probably wondering how on earth I've gone through and signed all of these players. Now, of course, every single player was a free agent that we signed. We literally looked into contracts expiring and kind of that was basically all we done. I would then sort this by world reputation, go from the 1 stars, get them all in on trial, offer trial, and they would hopefully come in on trial, learn a bit about them over 2 weeks, and go again. I mean, you can see already we're on the 5th of August. It has taken about 300 to 400 trials of different players to get us to the point we've got a squad. The other thing that I was looking into was if they had any international appearances in youth or in international, because at that point they're probably going to be more than good enough for us. You can see there's 168 players there. Get them on trial, see what they're like, and you can actually see the amount of players that we do have really good knowledge on, even just in this international bit here. But in general, it's pretty insane. The amount of trials we've done was genuinely mental. What we've done is moved the scouting range to UK and Ireland so I can see them all for these 2 months, and then I'm now going to put this back onto no scouting because realistically I don't need my scouts to be doing anything over this year. The only way I'm going to be able to sign players over the next couple of years is going to be trials. So our scouts, spending money on sending them to different countries, completely pointless. But anyway, this is the team that we have got to hopefully get us up the leagues. Now, I'm not going to spend too long talking about a bunch of these players because we're going to go through players like every single season. There's going to be probably 15 plus signings into it. So we'll just touch on some star players. Goalkeeper Ted Collins, 6'2", has had his career over in Chelmsford, Folkestone in the non-leagues, and now here into Braintree. Was at Colchester United, so a fairly local club, and is now going to settle here at Braintree as our number 1, because this is the number 9, Lewis Walker. This is a guy which is actually at Braintree in real life. 10 goals in 43 games last season here on Football Manager. I'm pretty sure he was one of the best players in the league actually last season, and I've managed to luckily keep him at the club. He is one of our biggest earners on 550 quid, but a star striker is absolutely essential. And if he doesn't bag, Tammy Abraham's brother Timmy has joined the club as a rotational player. And we've got Terrell Works, who looks like a fantastic quick winger at the club. And then in midfield have added some experience as well. 29 years of age, Ray Grant joins the club, a Scotland 29-year-old. Good height, really well-rounded stats for this division. And someone at the club already as well is Goran Babic. He is only 22 years of age, but some elite potential in him. And I'm really hoping he can kind of grow to the next level. Defensively, Caden Wilson is the best player in the entire club. He is 6'2", electric speed, good heading, marking, tackling, and 14 determination. As of 20 years of age, is an absolute superstar. And then past that, like I said, a bunch of players which just come in on fairly mediocre wages, with a few on non-contracts here to make up the numbers to give us a good rotational bunch of players. Now, in terms of the National League South, like I said, not an easy league to get out of at all. In terms of the promotion places, there is 1 guaranteed promotion, and then 6 clubs now have playoffs where it is a 1-game playoff. So you're losing the playoffs. It is absolute heartbreak and absolute carnage. So we ideally don't want that. And to be honest, as a relegated club, we are actually always sitting down in 9th place. We aren't one of the best relegated clubs. In fact, our relegated club, Truro, down in 3rd place. Well, we're in 9th. In fact, newly promoted clubs in Welling, Havant and Waterlooville are both above us. So this is not going to be easy whatsoever. We've also got KSI's Dagenham and Redbridge in the league with us. The updated database wasn't exactly perfect with the teams getting relegated and promoted, etc. So you'll have to bear with me on that one. But Braintree Town in the National League South, this is going to be absolute carnage because there's nothing I can do in terms of tactics or anything. Just transfers until you get a Premier League winning side. Yeah, I don't really think I've quite deeped how long this could potentially take. So please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Now, in terms of the tactic that the new manager is playing, we're looking fairly simple. It's a really simple 4-2-3-1 tactic. Nothing fancy, which I think is perfect for this division. We just played against Enfield Town, who I believe in real life has just been relegated to the league below the National League South, and we absolutely dominated them. I have also rebuilt Enfield from non-league to Champions League winners, and it took me 19 seasons with me doing the tactics. So with me not doing the tactics, this could generally take 30 plus years. So lock yourself in, grab yourself some popcorn, and let's get into it. Now, I was very confident that this season was going to be one of the most difficult in the entire rebuild. But the club absolutely smashed it in terms of the form going out through the middle of October all the way through into December. The fact we had a 22-man squad was absolutely massive because we were able to rotate, rest, and allow our star players to perform when we needed them most. I mean, Caden Wilson got a 7.34 average rating over the course of an entire year. And keeping Lewis Walker was a stroke of genius as he grabbed 27 goals in 46 games and a 7.02 average rating, showing it was 100% worth it to pay him the big bucks. But despite all that, we were not champions because George Elakobi has just taken Maidstone United to win the National League South. We finished down in 5th place, which means it's playoff time for us. In the first playoff round, we faced up against AFC Tottenham, and there was only one goal in the game, and luckily it came to us as Hubbard set the ball to the edge of the area and Reggie Wyatt finished into the back of the net. But in the semi-finals, we were facing up against the giant Torquay United. But we took the early lead as Blackwell drove down the right-hand side and found Lewis Walker. Then Torquay showed their class as Patterson Powell down the right-hand side found Dennis to make it 1-1. The next goal would be absolutely massive, and luckily it came for us. Babbage and Grant linked up to find Tommy Smith with an absolute worldie, which sent Braintree Town into the playoff final as we got past Torquay 2-1. And I'll be honest, it was one of the most boring games of all time. It was 0-0, and the game went all the way to penalties, where our Superman, Ted Collins, stepped up to save the final penalty and get Braintree Town promoted. That's right, we managed to get past Salisbury, and it looked like, based on the stats, it was entirely deserved. And Mr. Day has come in Season 1 and done the unthinkable. And it was really needed as well, because financially, 1.5 million in debt now, and over 300k negative in the bank balance. If we didn't get promoted here, I genuinely don't think we ever would have. So fair play to Jamie Day as he completes his first task of getting Braintree Town promoted. I know you guys are wondering if I'm going to be setting goals for these managers. Yes, I will be, but the reality of it is, down in the non-leagues, managers get poached and move on pretty much every single year. So for the start of this Director of Football rebuild, there's not going to be any goals for the managers because they've got 1-year contracts. Realistically, it's fairly obvious. At this point, get promoted. Next season, survive. You know, it's nothing crazy. And as you can see, Jamie has got a new 1-year deal at 47 years of age. After getting promotion for the club, he is sticking around. And thanks to our fantastic window last season, we've actually got a bunch of players on 2- or 3-year deals. So there's not actually that much to do in the transfer window. Realistically, 8 players are going to be leaving the club, leaving us a squad size of 14, which is only 8 new players to bring in. I know it sounds like a lot, but given last year was basically 22, I would take that. And just to actually show what a mammoth effort that was, our salary per annum this season was placed in 11th place at 395,000, and we knocked out clubs like Maidstone, Dagenham and Redbridge didn't get promoted, that was spending over £1 million. Of course, Maidstone getting promoted, but Torquay on 888, double our salary, we managed to get them out of the league. And they are staying in here, we are getting promoted. And once again, the story carries on. Braintree Town are back in the National League. Now this season, going up into the division above, you would like to be able to completely overhaul the squads, but financially that just wasn't possible. So there is only a few players that come in to this first team. Katsakiana is one, a Welsh centre-back, elite determination, great defensive stats, just can't pass the ball. So, Jamie, please keep him as a centre-back or a no-nonsense centre-back. Moving on from that, we've got Shakur Samuels, who is a starting right winger at 17 years of age. 6'3", elite jumping reach, great finishing, decision-making, flair, off the ball, and technique. One of them signings which, when they propped up, you just have to try and get. Released from Nottingham Forest. Absolutely unreal deal. 480 quid a week seems like a bargain for Shakur Samuels. And past that, it was basically rotational players because we just could not afford to spend loads of money. Our max wage is still £575 a week. And there is a bunch of players up from the academy in Tobias Scheideberg, Adam Araujo, and Wes Besant. And then some that are just on like less than £300 a week. And I don't know how we've got 3 5-star academy players because the actual potential here for academy players to come through is basically impossible. Basic youth recruitment, fairly basic academy coaching, and poor youth facilities. So what it says their 5-star potential when they look like they could be first team players, I imagine they're going to be pretty rubbish and not really give us anything. I mean, Tobias, he looks okay, nothing special. Adam Araujo is just a number left back. And Wes Besant, again, 5 heading at centre back. We just had no money to find more players. I mean, literally 1.4k left in wage budget, but the bank balance looks really rough. So I've tried to do everything I can to keep us sustainable because even now, the National League, the money isn't crazy, is it? I mean, if we somehow were to win the league here, it's not like we're going to gain £50 million and be okay. And we are projected to come in 18th place and struggle in a relegation battle. So there's no point in me going absolutely wild on transfers. So this season, in Season 2, the goal for Jamie, like I said, is simple survival. If we can keep up in the league this year, I will try and get Jamie Day to stay with us, carrying on this fantastic journey. And this year was exactly as expected. Fairly up and down. Winning some games, losing some, drawing some, and exactly what you'd expect from a club newly promoted into the National League. And one thing we have got to keep a massive eye out for in this rebuild is if we can overtake Chelmsford. Because Chelmsford are the local club to Braintree, managed by Angelo Harrop, who in 22-24 was the manager. He is a traitor and went to Chelmsford. So we have got to try and outdo Chelmsford throughout this rebuild. I mean, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked if we don't manage to do that because realistically, we've got to win the Premier League at some point. If we're battling Chelmsford in the Premier League, something's gone incredibly wrong in this video. Southend, we managed to do the double over this season, beating them 5-4, beating big teams like Hartlepool as well, but losing a bunch of games against some of the bigger sides like Aldershot, Yeovil, Scunthorpe, and again, drawing against Chelmsford. So there's absolutely no surprise this season. We finished down in 17th place, actually a bunch of points away of relegation, 8 points, which is more than I could ever really ask for Jamie. He's had a fantastic year this year. A negative 14 goal difference isn't brilliant, but being in a position where we are not absolutely scrapping relegation isn't really what I expected. So fair play. We don't have the budget to build him a fantastic team. He's just tactically got us safe. And of course, as we know, the National League is also a ridiculous league to try and get out of. Rochdale and York this year got over 100 points to both of them. Luckily, both going up, one through the playoffs, one winning the league. So, and you can see here, Maidstone United are a club on a mission, back-to-back promotions, 95 points for them. We're going to have to get to a point where we get an extra 40 plus points to gain promotion automatically, or try luck for the playoffs once again. So it is going to be absolute carnage. And the bank balance is just looking worse and worse and worse. And like I said earlier on in the video, running a club in non-league is no joke. It is not easy whatsoever. Negative £1.8 million in the bank now. £484,000 in debt. And realistically, when you think about it, we've got a promotion under our books. We have not been silly financially. I mean, once again, I'll show you guys how we're ranking compared to the other teams in the league. We're sitting down in 13th place on salary per... Sorry, no. We're sitting down in 23rd place in salary per annum. Yet still, we are a club just losing money. And that is just the reality of owning a club in non-league, I suppose. So hopefully at some point in this rebuild, either we can get some fantastic new owners that are incredibly rich, or we can make Braintree Town sustainable. How you do that on Football Manager, I really don't know. That already leaves us with a negative wage budget going into this summer and a transfer budget of just £2,000. So realistically, there's got to be some outgoings and we have got to make some savage decisions on a few of these players which have been absolutely fantastic that sadly won't be staying around the club. And even someone like Caden Wilson, we've been leaving the club on a free agent deal. He's wanted by the likes of Bristol Rovers and Carlisle United. I simply just can't afford to keep him around. He wants more money. He's actually wanted to move to a club with a better squad, which is understandable. And it looks like he's going to go to League 2 or League 1. Other players that are doing to keep the club, Lewis Walker has been brilliant. Terrell Work's been brilliant. Danny Butterworth, brilliant. Shakur Samuel's a great first season for him at 18 years of age. Goran Babic, been here from day one, a player in real life, and is doing well in the National League. And a bunch of other players which, to be honest, we can either keep or lose. It's not massive to us. So players that are on high wages that aren't smashing it, I think this is the point where we see and move on. But what would make this a lot harder? You know, we've got a manager which for 2 seasons has been absolutely brilliant. Who has left us? Jamie Day. Why have you left us? Jamie. He's gone to Rochdale, who are in the same league as us, of course, a massive club. He's left us, which is absolutely heartbreak. And I can kind of see why, because they're a club on the come up. They're a club that are trying to get to the next level in this save alone, promoted, relegated, and now back here, looking for a manager to save them. And Jamie's left us, which is absolutely heartbreaking. So as things currently stand, we don't have a manager. So once again, I'm going to go on the manager hunt, and I've got to try and find someone that can get a tune out of this squad, which has got some new signings in it, but we'll go through that in a minute because the manager is what I really need. And once again, it was all about trying to find a manager which could suit the system, playing a 4-2-3-1 because it's clearly working, and looking for someone with a little bit of international experience. That's partly on my behalf because I want quite cool managers throughout the course of this rebuild. But as you can see, the options weren't amazing. And the guy I ended up settling on was Paul Caddis, a 40-year-old manager who was Scottish international when he played, which is pretty awesome, and had a fairly decent career as well by the looks of it, and has been a manager a few times in this save at Hereford. They're moving down to Kings Lynn and now joins us here. Now, Kings Lynn, a club in the Vanarama National League North, but incredibly local to Braintree, about a 2-hour drive away. So it's pretty cool to get a manager who's kind of in the local area already that can now come in and hopefully take us to the next level. Again, a manager that's playing the 4-2-3-1 DM wide, but actually plays the 4-3-3 out of possession and is looking to control possession. So as a young up-and-coming manager, I'm hoping Super Paul can take us to the next level. Now, in terms of star players this season, Luca Fletcher was my big one. This guy looks absolutely brilliant. 6'2", elite jumping reach, finishing, okay composure, good speed, okay determination, but 21 years of age. And in this save already, has moved to Ipswich for £700,000, played a Premier League game, and then got relegated, never done anything. And now finds himself at Braintree Town, which feels a bit harsh on poor Luca, but I'm pretty sure this guy shouldn't be with us and is way too good. Now, we are spending a lot of money on him, but having a star striker is going to be absolutely everything for us this season. So Luca comes in there. Terrell Works is our left winger still got Thierry at the club. Herbie James is a new signing, a 21-year-old winger. Okiweye is a new central attack midfielder at the club as well. Harvey Foster, a new defensive midfielder. And you can see there's a few of these players which are some of the best players in the club that are on non-contracts because simply our wage budget just doesn't allow to have a bunch of star players. So we really are here relying on Luca to carry us to the top and for Paul Caddis to work his tactical genius to help us survive. It seems like we're doing a really good job though as director of football. 3 seasons in, a club with a very hamstrung budget, and we are now predicted 13th in the National League, which I think is a very respectable place to be predicted. Quite far away from relegation, a little bit away from playoffs, and I did not think we'd be here right now. I still thought we'd be battling down in the predicted 24th and finishing 20th, but it seems like we're actually doing a fantastic job. And in fact, this season massively overachieved once again, getting 77 points, and we're literally just a single point away from being in the playoffs. And if you guys can see the player stats down here, there is a reason for that. Super Luca Fletcher. I had a feeling he was too good for this league. It turns out he really is too good for this league. A 7.09 in the second half of the season overall, grabbed 36 goals and a 7.4 average rating throughout the entire year, scoring 33 goals in 35 games. We need to keep hold of Luca for as long as we can, and luckily, I actually gave him a 3-year contract, so unless we get a crazy offer for him, Luca is going nowhere. And Paul Caddis seems to have been a masterstroke of a managerial signing. Actually doing much better than Jamie Day, who has been sacked of manager of Rochdale after just half a season. I hate to celebrate a manager sacking there, but leaving us to Rochdale, a bigger club, he didn't quite have what it takes. And Jamie is gone, while Paul Caddis seems to be the new man on the block. But then we were left again. Paul Caddis, what have you done? You've left us again. We just keep being left. Paul Caddis has gone to manage Airdronians in the second tier of Scotland. Oh, I thought we were getting somewhere. And then another manager leaves us in the lurch. I mean, that is just absolutely heartbreaking because we were unreal last season. I mean, what we were doing with £2 million in debt and a negative 800k wage budget was incredible, and we've been left again. And the reality of non-league director of football business is that managers come and go. We've just got to try and find someone which are going to help us go up through the leagues. Now, luckily, that happened very early on into the transfer window. So we have still got kind of a base squad here, but, you know, going into July, we have only got 12 players in the squad. So we can actually look into any tactic I want. So why I've gone with someone quite exciting. I'll be honest, I really wanted to bring Wayne Rooney into the club, and I will make it my mission at some point. If we get left again, Wayne Rooney will join the club as manager. I want Wazza in charge of Braintree. You know, as a local lad, Wayne Rooney is my absolute footballing idol. He will manage us one day, I hope. But the guy that's managing us now is Andy Kirk, a manager that plays a 4-2-4 system, tiki-taka, an outstanding motivational speaker. That's what I absolutely love to see. Now, Andy has been a manager at a bunch of different clubs, including Hearts, Brechin, St Johnstone, Brechin again, and then recently in our save, Yeovil, and then he got sacked in 2028, which isn't ideal, but Andy joins us here, and I am very confident this is the level of manager we need to make a massive difference on the pitch. 4-2-4 is a very overpowered formation on the game this year. His stats here look absolutely elite, and he's a Continental Pro licensed manager. We could have found our GM. And that allowed us to build a super team for Mr. Kirk. In the 4-2-4 system, we have managed to do absolute wonders this year, and I am actually quite confident we're going to be potentially booking for promotions. And the goal for Kirk this year is simply to be a mid-table manager in the National League. We finished 8th or 9th last year with someone else. We've now had another year of transfers. This guy has to get mid-table or he's getting moved on. But anyway, the team we've built him, we've now got a star goalkeeper in Harry Evans, 6'4", elite jumping reach, area reach, and sort of fits the bill as a meta football manager goalkeeper. Left back we've had for a couple of seasons now is Lucas Pili, a Spaniard at left back, while right back is Max McKnight, who has also been here for a couple of years. Katakunya is still here as a right centre back and is actually doing really well for us, with Ben Ward as our left centre back. And this guy I think is actually brilliant. Can also fill in as a rotational DM if we need him to. In our DM positions, we have got Ty Hall, who again looks really quite good, and then Ben Watt as a DM also, who can fill in at centre-back. And we had to do a lot of that because I've only got 19 players this year. The wage budget is completely gone. In terms of right winger, our starter is either going to be Super Herbie James, or we have still got Shakur Samuels here at the squad as well. Terrell Works stays with the club, absolutely smashing it over on the left wing, with Luca Fletcher in the striker role. We need another 30-plus goal season from him. And someone to help him out now up front is Josh Pitts, who also looks absolutely brilliant. 5'10", great finishing, good speed, good determination. And in terms of backups, we've got Reece Elliott Paris, who can also play centre-back, but is our backup striker, and also someone from the academy in Hayden Morgan into the club as well. So a few academy stars still trying to break in, a few players in the first team which look absolutely fantastic. And like I said, we're looking for mid-table at least this season in the National League. We are predicted to finish in 9th place. I mean, Yeah, mid-table is the absolute minimum we need from the manager this year. Andy Kirk, you've got to go out there and smash it. Let's see what we can do. Hopefully, we can be mid-table and in and around the playoffs once again. And Andy Kirk was doing a fantastic job in charge of Braintree. Throughout the month of November, nearly went invincible. And in December, managed to get us all the way to the second round of the FA Cup, sadly losing to Havant and Waterlooville. But things were going very well. We were sitting top 3 in the league on 52 points, just 5 points away from a title. And then everything changed in the entire club. No. Andy Kirk has not gone anywhere. Something even more mental has happened. We were placed on a transfer embargo. We then get a message saying, Braintree, count the money. Talks progressing over a new potential board takeover. And apparently we're going to get incredibly rich being taken over by a Brazilian investor. We were then offered a new contract, then turned professional and got a personal message from our brand new owner who told us there is now £1.5 million in the bank to go and spend, a wage budget and a transfer budget, and the embargo has been lifted, and Braintree Town are rich. I mean, this rebuild just got a whole lot more interesting. We have basically just had a full, rich Brazilian owner join Braintree Town as their new owner, clear the debt, and put a bunch of money into the club. Now, the only annoying thing, he's done that on the 30th of January, so I'm not actually able to go and really get anyone into the club whatsoever. But we have got a bunch of money for next season. So this year is already going absolutely fantastic in the National League. We might even get promoted into League 2. And imagine at that point, we'll be able to go and spend loads of money climbing up through the leagues with a rich Brazilian man in charge. This has completely changed the course of this video. And the boost that gave us as a club going into the second half of the season was just insane. We were managing to put on ridiculous runs of form because the club had some confidence and some aura about it. Now, sadly, Yeovil managed to run away with the title on 88 points, but we finished in second place as the second best side in the league. We skip the quarterfinals and go straight to the playoff semis. We were facing up against Forest Green Rovers, and again, there was only one goal in this game, and it came from that man, Luca Fletcher. This guy, again, was incredible this season and actually massively thrived in a two-striker formation. He grabbed 24 goals and 13 assists, showing was no longer just the bagsman, but also could link up play as well. And in the final, we're facing up against Sutton United, a club which has yo-yoed between League 2 and the National League for quite a while now, and a club with certainly a bigger budget than us. This is probably the last time that we look into the finances and one of the most broke clubs in the league, because we were down in 18th place. I imagine, going forward into the future, we're going to be right up near the top of our brand new owner. Sutton are spending double amount on wages per year on 1.2 million. But again, just showing what a fantastic job we've done as director of football, considering I cannot influence the tactics whatsoever, getting a club with the 18th most salary to finish in second place, knocking out Forest Green, who were on £2.1 million. But Sutton came into this game with a point to prove. It wasn't long until Sutton were 2-0 up, and the whole of Wembley, well, half of Wembley as Braintree Town fans, was silenced. But just 15 minutes later, Super Josh Pitts ran down the line, found a ball into the box after a lovely Cruyff turn, and James finished home to make it 2-1. And a long ball down the left-hand side from Terrell Works to Pitts, found the man in the middle, Luca Fletcher, to make it 2-2. And we were now on level terms. But Sutton are just such a good side, and they scored to make it 3-2 with Wright scoring again. Could we do the unthinkable and come back again? A long ball forward from the keeper up to Josh Pitts. Headed down, Josh Pitts down the left-hand side. How many times have we seen that? Fires an effort, and Elliot Paris scores and sends the game to penalties. It came down all the way to the keepers, and Evans scored for us. But for them, Charlie Bell missed the final penalty, and Sutton United lose in the playoffs to Braintree Town. And we actually are going into League 2, which is the first time in Braintree's history. now a professional club as well. A whole bunch of money in the bank. I mean, 1.7 million. And the new rich owner has given us over £1 million to spend and £17,000 in the wage budget. We are going to absolutely fly. That has been 4 seasons of pure carnage, taking Braintree from relegation to National League South up to League 2, and now with new owners. I actually can't believe it. It is genuinely incredible, and I don't think I've ever had a board takeover before in one of these non-league rebuilds. So I'm hoping we can develop the youth, the training facilities, and actually make Braintree a full sustainable club, which is incredible. Now in terms of average rating wise, Luca Fletcher 7.37, Thierry Catacunha 7.02, Josh Pitts also brilliant, a 7.01, and Terrell Works 20 assists this year, with Shakur Samuels getting 14, showing this 4-2-4 approach has absolutely smashed it. And now I'm going to have some fantastic fun with a whole bunch of money and actually start scouting players and turn Braintree into a League 2 club. Now, for the first time in this rebuild, we've actually been able to scout players, as mentioned previously, and we've done it using wonder kids that we are looking for that could potentially join the side. We've gone very, very simple. We're looking at European wonder kids, and I will be showing you how I'm potentially differentiating the ones that can join and not join. And then, of course, we are looking at wonder kids that are based in England, UK, and Ireland overall. And are pretty cool that Nathan Redmond is a scout here at the club as well. More random facts. And them scouting filters did enable us to find our first regen wonder kid, and that is Jan Kamagate, with 5 under-21 caps for Ivory Coast, 17 determination. The 5'8" left winger has been playing at Sedan in France and hasn't actually played any games, but joins us here in League 2, and I think he's a pretty decent player. And there was one more player signed from them recruitments, and that was Sunday Cole, a 19-year-old Nigerian striker who is playing at FC Ebedi in the non-leagues of Nigeria, and he has been found. And he looks like a fantastic striker at 19. Good finishing and composure for this level, to clarify. When I say that, I mean for the level we're playing in. Mental stats, very well-rounded, decent physical stats as well. 6'1", so a good physical presence, and that is, of course, important in this league. Other star players that we signed are the likes of Jeffro Medine as a brand new right back. We've got D'Angelo Fletchman, who is a new attacking left wing back with good speed and crossing. Billy Hutchinson, a new centre back who again looks very decent for this level. Ollie Martin, who at 22 years of age as a left-footed centre back is an absolute demon with 18 natural fitness, but great heading, marking and tackling with good determination as well. So great starting in him. Alfie Mansell signed for £9,000 from Woking, a new potential goalkeeper signing. And then there's a few players that are lost in the trialing source. So if we check out the first team, we'll see if there's anyone else in here. Of course, keeping Luca Fletcher, Josh Pitts around this season. Sunday Cole as another striking option. Of course, Jan Kamagate as a winger option as well. The midfield I'm actually quite happy with. Based on what we done last year, I was pretty confident we'd be okay this year. And in the defence, also fairly happy. A few signings coming in to help improve, but nothing overall that major. And that's because, in my opinion, the jump up from the National League to League 2 isn't as scary as some of the other jump ups. Now, that is mainly because there is 3 automatic promotion places and 4 playoff places, and only 2 teams can get relegated. So even if we have a couple of years as a mid-table side, I'll be quite confident here. Maidstone United, obviously a club that have been on a journey with us, are now in League 2 as well, in mid-table. Last season, they finished in 22nd, just about surviving. The season before that, in 20th. Of course, this is the side which have joined us on our journey. Went up straight away, first place in the first season we had of the rebuild. Went up again, first place in the National League. Back-to-back year promotions winning the league. So they've kind of stagnated now, and I guess this is the level I suppose we're looking at, around 20th place in the National League, in League 2, sorry, and we're predicted in 22nd, just above Maidstone United. So just showing, just having that level of recruitment, being able to sign a few players has been absolutely massive. And in terms of our budget, there is still money left to spend, but I couldn't really find many players that actually wanted to come. And of course, a lot of it comes down to work permits as well. I have been putting on work permit likely, as well as work permit required acquired as no and having that as an or, and going through and basically trying to find some young players that want to join. That's how we found Cole and Jan Kamagate, and also just looking at players which aren't young, potentially if they would want to join as well, but there's very difficult to find them. Of course, this is only our first year of using these sorts of scouting methods, so we're not going to have a load of players come through for us. I have put 350k in the wage budget, so hopefully, in the scouting budget, so hopefully we can actually go and find a lot of players using these methods, but we'll have to wait and see. For our first year in League 2, we're just looking at survival, and then I think we can push on from there. And there was some amazing points this season where our form was much better than we ever could have expected. Of course, in October and November, your teams are riding the wave of recently being promoted, so the morale is at an all-time high, and we nearly went unbeaten throughout the whole of these months, the only loss actually coming to Maidstone. But something I really didn't expect in this rebuild was to go on runs like that. I more expected runs like this, where we would lose a whole bunch of games in a row, and that was literally December, just showing how quickly, as soon as the morale starts to change in a team Football Manager, things can go wrong in an instant. But luckily, our early season form was enough to keep us safe this year. We finished actually down in 18th place, which, as much as I said, I'd like to be a survivor relegation side, I was looking for a bit more than that. So a little bit disappointed, but again, I'm aware I didn't set any sort of rules there for Andy Kirk, but realistically, I was looking for survival, wasn't we? And then from here, we can now build. There will be some stricter rules going forward, like I said, as we go up the leagues. But realistically, I've just been so set on trying to keep a little bit of consistency in the team. And having Andy Kirk as our manager for as long as we have, now 2 years, it hasn't even, that seems like a crazy amount of time in non-league. And now we're in League 2. I'm just trying to keep it as consistent as possible with him. So again, it was very much a survival last season, but he will have some stricter rules going forward. That's if he doesn't leave us, because he is wanted by Bolton, Crew and Leyton Orient, and I'm very much not standing in anyone's way in this rebuild. If they're getting offers from clubs which they want to move to, I don't want a manager at my club that doesn't want to be here. So we are going to keep a strong eye on that one and hope that Andy does stay around. But I'm very impressed by this season, considering there wasn't many changes to last season's team. The main one being Sunday Cole coming in up front. He got 15 goal contributions as a free agent, which is absolutely insane. Luca Fletcher, 15 and 1, doing bits as well. Isaac Collins doing quite well. And the new centre-backs, Ollie Martin, a 6.89 as well. Also doing very decent. But again, as I said, in these lower leagues, it's a high turnover. I can't really go too in-depth every year, or this video might be 4 hours long. But this year, I do actually feel like I've made some real game-changing signings, like Miller Matthews Lewis from Leyton Orient, whose stats just look way too good for this level. He's 5'11", insane mental stats, really good physicals, finishing of 13, composure of 12, and he cost me £11,000. This guy is actually at Hemel Hempstead in real life, moved to Brighton, potentially in real life, actually in League 1, has been out on loan a few times, ended up settling at Leyton Orient, never really been a certified bagsman, but I feel like with these stats, in the right system, in a two-pronged attack in a 4-2-4, Miller Matthews Lewis could be insane. After that, we signed Lithuanian youngster Paulius Misunias, who has got 12 under-21 caps for the Lithuanian side. Really good mentals, good defensive stats as a midfielder, looks brilliant on a free agent deal. Sol Gordon as another midfielder coming in to the club at 23 years of age. Adrius Golambekis is an English centre-back, 18 determination, good defensive stats, decent physicals. Once again, a free agent. Sheldon Kendall joins the club, a good attacker / winger rotation, can play on both sides. Charlie Finney is a new DM or left back, I think is where I'm more looking for him to play. Slightly more of the defensive option compared to the other cool guy whose name is an amazing name, which is why he's cool, but I forgot it. But he is our more attacking left back. He's a more defensive. And to be honest, that was it in terms of signings this year. I didn't go too crazy whatsoever. And it's kind of because I'm a bit worried about the budget going up and down, up and down, up and down. And we actually are pretty spent. There is only 260 quid left I could spend in wage budget. So we don't want to go too crazy on that one. I am trying to keep it so we are constantly scouting in Europe as well, just to keep our ears to the ground of any potential wonder kids that come through. Like Tixini Aguirre, if I was playing a 4-2-3-1, would have been a brilliant signing for me. just doesn't suit our current tactical system. But we're managing to find players like that, or Mattia Burens, who are in Belgium or Mali or Lithuania, who we would never find otherwise. So I'm really trying to keep that there because it will be insanely helpful once we get to a stage where we can sign a bunch of players from them regions, and we'll just have the knowledge there in the club. Now, actually, this year we have got a 25-man squad because there's a few players which have not left over the last few years that I was expecting to leave. And so I've been putting them down the under-18s, transfer listing them, and they've never really gone anywhere. So I sort of thought this year, maybe we'll try and go for pure numbers and rotation. Maybe gives us the best chance. If we actually check out the prediction as well, it has changed a fair bit from us being down in 22nd, now actually 17th, which is really awesome. And we also saw last year, I don't know if you guys actually did notice this whatsoever, but Maidstone finished in 7th, and they are now predicted as the worst club in the league. So, showing it is very possible for one of the lower ranked sides to have a real world beater of a year and get into the playoffs. They lost, I believe, in the semi-finals, getting knocked out straight away to Carlisle, but showing it is possible for one of the worst teams to really take a stand. And if you can get a good run of form like this here, it is possible to make the playoffs. So that's why I was absolutely buzzing that this was our form from February to March and to April, only losing 2 games in the final 3 months of the season, being really difficult to beat, but also scoring a bunch of goals in some games. 3-0s, 4-1s, 3-1s, even 2-2 draws I don't mind because it shows our attacking impetus. But this year we scored 70 goals overall. It was just defensively where we were even better, conceding just 51. And that's the sort of form that gets you in 6th place, which is where we finished, in the middle of the playoff bracket. Because obviously remember, 1, 2, 3, all promoted. 4th place 7th, 5th place 6th. And we were facing up against Chesterfield. Aside that, this season had our number, beating us 3-0 and 2-0 in the 2 games. But in the first leg at home, we managed to come away as 1-0 victors thanks to a lovely solo goal from Herbie James. Meaning we now just had to go away from home and not lose, and we'll be in a playoff final to get to League One. And the game started one better than that as a Fletchman corner found the head of Katsukunya, who found the back of the net. But just Chesterfield were no joke. And you can see that from the stadium we're playing at today as well. They were a massive side, and they had some big players that turned up in big moments as well. Like that finish from Cordes, a lovely strike from distance the way, eventually tapped home. And not long later did they tie the game up to make it level on 2-2, the back post header from Wayne. But we had some big players of our own, and we took the lead once again as Herbie James found a back post cross to Kamagate, who found Sunday Cole to make it 3-2 on aggregate, and that was that. We had got past Chesterfield and were going to a playoff final. And you can see from the result here and the stats in this game, 12 shots to their 16, but doing better on possession. And that 92nd minute goal was the difference maker. Our 2 players that we signed from outside of England, in fact, both from Africa, managing to come in, combine, and absolutely smash it, shows why we are using that money to scout players from all over the world. And in the final, we were facing up against Shrewsbury Town, who have been a League 2 side now for 7 seasons, and they were the club which finished 4th, just missing out on automatic promotion. And the game went all the way to extra time, and I'll be honest, we were getting absolutely battered all game long, but a lovely ball from Herbie James found Josh Pitts for the one and only goal in this game at Wembley with Braintree Town. We managed to beat Shrewsbury 1-0 and secure ourselves promotion to League One for the first time in the club's history. And when I say we got battered in this game, I really truly mean it. We had 3 shots, 1 on target, but that's all that mattered. And our goalkeeper, Super Harry Evans, with that meta jumping reach, area reach, clearly was just an absolute world beater today. And we managed to come away with a 1-0 victory in the most disgusting way possible. To be fair to us, we were incredibly close to them on points and were only 5 points away from Cambridge in 3rd place. So it's not like we were 15 points away and snuck our way into it. We just didn't really turn up on the playoff final day, but managed to just about sneak a victory. Do I feel bad for Shrewsbury? Not at all, I'll be completely honest. And it feels good that we have finally overtaken Maidstone as well. And the mighty Braintree Town are now going up to League One. Luca Fletcher this year was also insane once again. He has had now 4 seasons being our #1 goal scorer. Was a little bit ropey last year, but found his feet again with 23 goals, 5 assists, and a 7.16 average rating. Star player, of course, is Harry Evans. And Sol Gordon, I believe, coming in this season, he has indeed 7 goals, 6 assists, a 7.11 average rating. Doing fantastic. A player from the Chelsea Academy goes to Newcastle. Didn't quite work out from there, despite playing 8 games in the Premier League. Joined us here in League 2 and, well, absolutely smashed it. And it's actually pretty hilarious because Josh Pitts, who scored the winning goal, only started 1 game all season and only scored 1 goal. And it was that one in a playoff final at Wembley. What an absolute club legend. Thierry Katsakunya, who has been with us from non-league football in the National League, now has been a League 2 starter for us. 41 games, a 7.01 average rating. Done really well throughout his career with us. He is absolutely awful on the ball. 1 dribbling, 2 passing. But the youngster who is currently out on loan at Real Union in Spain, but is a Villa player, has been absolutely unreal for us. So really, really happy with Thierry. He's been fantastic. And then a few other players as well, really impressing. Sunday Cole, 18 and 5. And to be honest, I'm really happy with how things have gone. Now, I said I thought the jump up from the National League up to League 2 was actually fairly easy. Getting now to League 1, I think, is a completely different story. We're facing Wrexham, we're facing Peterborough, we're facing Cardiff, and that's without even looking into the relegated sides from the Championship. We're now facing Pompey, Salford, Oxford United, and little old Braintree Town are now in that league, which is an insane journey so far. Just, what, 6 years in? And we are now going up into League 1 as director of football only, having nothing to do with tactics whatsoever. We've got to say, it's been a massive, massive help to have our superstar gaffer, Andy Kirk, be here at the club and stay on. He is still wanted now by Pompey, who, I'll be real, if they offer for him, I can't see him staying at the club. But hopefully he does, because his tactical systems have worked an absolute treat. And he has been superb for us as our gaffer. But even though we're now going into League 1, I was still heavily reliant on free agents. We did have a massive boost in our wage budget this year, where I can still spend an extra £10,000, but I'm kind of struggling to find players which are going to be good enough for this level and warrant the money that they're asking for. So I'm really just hoping on survival this season. We did make 7 signings. Maliga Promise was a brilliant one. A right wing option, great speed, 17 flair, good determination, 13 dribbling as well. Inigo Perez is a Spaniard coming in on a free agent deal, an attacking wingback with good crossing, great speed and 15 determination. Alexander Smith comes in from Rangers. I actually just done a Rangers rebuild a couple of weeks ago when you watched this, and I said to you this guy was going to be a really good wonder kid in that video. Turns out he's not quite done it. So he's joined us here in League 1 at Braintree as a potential left wing or central midfield option for us. Charlie Baker is here as a new star centre-back. Lewis Bonney is here as a new left wing-back. Freddie Draper joins from Lincoln. Again, a signing which I normally absolutely love in the Championship, even as a low-down Premier League side, because he normally smashes it at Lincoln. In our save, since he's gone back down to League 1 after his season in the Championship with Lincoln, he's hardly played a game, and he's joined us on a free agent deal, which is absolutely insane. So I'm hoping Freddie Draper can be mental for us. And finally, Cameron Bryn Hughes, who is a Coventry in our save, I believe a Manchester United young goalkeeper in real life, has never played a game before and simply joins us as a backup on 1.4k. So the squad hasn't really changed too much. This is our best 11, and I think it's been this way for a fairly decent time. Evans, Bacchus and Martin as sort of the 2 centre-backs and goalkeeper, with Perez coming in as a new star right back, but Fletchman staying as our new starting wing back, has been here for a good few seasons now. Gordon and Compton have been here for a while as well, with Holland on the right, Smith on the left, Draper and Cole up front. So the attack is where things have really kind of impressed and improved this season. And looking into League 1, I imagine we're the worst team in the league. How are we not the worst team in the league? We are the 18th best team in the league, which is actually genuinely crazy. Wigan? Apparently Braintree Town are better than Wigan. Right, what have we done here then? We've got Boston with us as well, Cambridge, Blackpool, Notts County, Wigan and Fleetwood that we're better than. And Cole, you a local rival probably at this point, are also in the same league. So that's a fun one to battle out. The Battle of Essex, should I say. Colchester, Braintree, and then we'll check out where Chelmsford are as another little cheeky rival. Hopefully still rotting down in the National League South. Bosh, they are indeed, with Will Hughes as their manager, which is very strange. I suppose we're just very lucky that Super Andy Kirk just doesn't want to leave the club. And he was just doing a simply ridiculous job. There was absolutely no reason why this Braintree Town side should be beating clubs like Wrexham, Exeter, Walsall, drawing to Portsmouth, beating Notts County, Salford, Doncaster, Bolton, all in a ridiculous run. But Andy Kirk was making that happen, and that had got him a lot of interest. And in fact, now official offers have come in from him from Charlton and Swansea. And I worry that now on the 19th of November, when Braintree Town are third in League One, our superstar manager is going to leave us. And it breaks my heart as much as it breaks your guys' heart, but Andy Kirk has left the club to go and join Charlton in the Championship to attempt to save them. And I'm not even going to sit here and be salty. Andy Kirk, you have been a club legend, and I hope you go on to absolutely smash it. So that means that I actually have a chance to go out and get my favourite manager, Wayne Rooney, doesn't it? Let's have a look at him. What, Wayne? Wayne, where have you gone? Wayne is no longer on the database, and I can't even replace my broken heart of Andy Kirk leaving with Super Wazza. So we use the same requirements again, and we are on the lookout for a new manager. And I will say there are some pretty cool names starting to do really well in our save, like Jack Wilshere now as the Sunderland manager. Steve Gerrard is at Lille. Tom Huddlestone is the assistant at Sunderland to Jack Wilshere. Lampard is the manager of Norwich. We've got Sean Maloney as the QPR manager. Stephen Naismith is the Wimbledon manager, potentially someone we could poach. Rob Edwards is someone we could certainly poach as well. And I'll be completely honest, I was very tempted to get Rob Edwards in, but he plays a 5-2-1-2, and our current side just is not built for that whatsoever. But I did go for someone which I would call a bit of a Premier League, maybe a bit too late for a Barclaysman. It's Jay Rodriguez. This man in our save has gone on to become the manager of Woking and now Dorking, and has been there for only a few months, but is managing in non-league and is absolutely smashing it in top of the National League South with a side which, you know, have been challenging there for a few years, 7th after a 4th place finish, but he is now looking to be the real difference maker as their new manager. Plays a 4-4-2/4-4-3 control possession system, and it's a bit of a risk, but Jay Rodriguez is our new manager. And honestly, it's partly because I just didn't know where else to go. I was tempted to look into Scott Brown, obviously a bit of a Scottish legend, playing a very, very similar style of system, but he's managing at Greenock Morton in the 2nd tier of Scotland. So I was like, I don't really know if he's someone that I want to manage because I got sacked from there. Michael Duff is in our league, in League One. I didn't think I could get him. Looking into Tom Cleverley and Notts County. Bit of a weird move. So I've gone down the leagues to get the mighty Jay Rodriguez to be our manager. So the question is, can Super Jay keep up this form and put Braintree potentially into the Championship? And he had the perfect first game up against Colchester United and managed to get a 1-0 victory against the local rivals, who were also top of the league. And based off the stats and the system he's playing, I think there's reason to be excited. It is simple football, and sometimes in leagues, that can be absolutely perfect. But that strong victory to start did not last forever. And realistically, Braintree Town fell off very, very, very quickly. We managed to drop all the way out of the playoff race and finish down in 9th place on 73 points, while our arch rivals Colchester gained promotion with Wrexham and MK Dons. So am I angry at that season? Am I angry at Jay Rodriguez? Absolutely not. I feel like Andy Kirk done everything he could have done and absolutely smashed it at the start of the season. And I feel like Jay Rodriguez picked up a team that are in insane form, in love with a manager, and managed to kind of keep things together. So we'll take it. We were only, 4 points away from Cardiff, which again is pretty insane as Braintree Town. So nowhere near relegation. Did manage to have some big victories, and I'm excited for the potential future. But on a much sadder note, Andy Kirk has already been sacked from Charlton as they got relegated in 23rd place. So Super Andy, he's back on the market, but I'm not going back there whatsoever. He left us. He tried on bigger things. Maybe he's not good enough, and maybe that was his level. But it's a bit of a shame because I do think we could have got promoted this season if he stuck around. No, I'll be honest, financially, we've been a little bit of a powerhouse. Maybe not, but we've been quite rich over the past few seasons to get to where we are now. But looking into things this year, we haven't quite got the money we've had recently. We are over our wage budget. We've got £90,000 to spend and only £80,000 in the scouting budget. And that's because, as I've said throughout the whole video, being a director of football and being an owner of a club in, whether it's non-league, literally any league whatsoever, is just not profitable. So with our bank balance at 1.8 million, every single year we are having that dropping down to negative, having that dropping down to negative. And this year, because of our higher wage budget, we felt that sting a lot more. Now, luckily, because we've got this lovely, beautiful Brazilian owner, he just pumps money back into the club and it's absolutely fine. But I don't know how long that is going to last. Checking out the team stats and finances, our salary per annum is down here in 20th place, but we are spending £3.5 million a year on salary. So we are kind of being quite competitive. I genuinely dread to think where we would be without this owner, because we'd probably still be in the non-leagues. I'll be completely real here, 8 seasons deep. And it's got to be said, a massive respect to Colchester United. 3.85 million, 18th place, and just finished above 20 million Wrexham to win the league. Their manager is Stanislav Todorov, who is the assistant manager at Crystal Palace, apparently. In real life, has managed Leyton Orient, Stevenage, now Colchester, and seems to be like an absolute world beater manager. So fair play to him. He's wanted by Bristol City. I'll be interested to see how Colu get on. I do like Colu, you know. You've got to, haven't you, as a local club. Pretty cool to see them on FM actually do really well, because I think they are like the most depressing team in the English leagues right now. They're on the longest spell. I think it's 21 years of a club being in the same or without a promotion for the longest time in the Championship, League 1 and League 2, I think, is Colchester United. It's been 21 years where they left Layer Road in Colchester and moved into their new stadium, have never seen promotion there, have been relegated twice, and now just a consistent sort of rubbish team in League 1, as you can see. So really good to see Colu do bits in our rebuild, to be honest. And our mission over the next few years is to see if we can catch them. I am also on a bit of a mission to try and improve the facilities here at the club. I have been asking a fair bit to the board, but he hasn't really got the money to improve all of this stuff, as well as keep the club alive. So luckily, the training facilities, youth facilities, aren't really going up. But I'm going to continue to try. And as I kind of alluded to, there wasn't really the money this year to bring in loads of players. I signed one player I think is a bit of a star in Michael Parker from St Mirren for £25,000, and 2 players here in Baba Jayode as a rotational winger from Blackpool, and Ivo Richardson, a backup goalkeeper in Swindon. There just isn't really the wage budget or the transfer budget to do too much. And the squad size is just 21 players big. And we're hoping some of them star players from last year can continue to impress. Freddie Draper last year come in, 8 goals, 4 assists, a good average rating. Obviously playing in a 2-striker approach. He is going to be fairly important for us. And in terms of other star players as well, Alexander Smith last year was really good. 5 goals, 10 assists, is still here at the club. Has got a bid on him from Livingston for 300k. But I just don't think there's much point in me selling him. I think in terms of our budget, we'd just sort of not see that very quickly. And because we're getting this constant sort of 2 million pumped into the club every year, regardless of what happens, me selling one of our star players at 300k doesn't really make much sense. The other star players, Inigo Perez, the free agent, joined us and was really good last year. And I'm kind of just hoping to improve on last year, potentially get playoffs. But to be honest, I'll be happy with another 70, well, probably 65 plus point season. We are now the mid-table club in the league in 12th place. Again, I am entirely surprised that we are able to actually keep up in these leagues and be in this range. we're facing up against this year relegated Charlton, Reading and Preston, who apparently we're better than, even though they've got Claudio Echeverri up top. And he's actually their player. I've got no idea how we're doing this. And honestly, it's getting to the point where it's not even the prediction anymore, and it's not even just having a star manager like Andy Kirk, because Jay Rodriguez is absolutely cooking. And now that he's stabilised himself into the club, we can beat teams like Cardiff, we can beat teams like Cambridge, Wickham, Boston on a consistent basis. We had our star player in Luca Fletcher, who was the player of the season this year with 33 goal contributions, a 7.42 average rating, and has just been absolutely cooking. I can't believe we got this guy down in the National League and he's just slowly climbed up the leagues with us. What a signing. And as a team, we scored the second most amount of goals, which feels very fitting for a Jay Rodriguez side, and defensively was absolutely awful. Down in 71 goals conceded. But as you can see, we finished in 5th place and are going to the playoffs once again. And we were facing up against Wickham, a yo-yo club of the Championship and League One, and took the early lead thanks to Fletcher. Wickham did equalise pretty quickly as Kamara and Welsh linked up to make it 1-1. But we answered back straight from kickoff, Holland finding Freddie Draper, and we took a 2-goal lead as Alexander Smith found Draper once again to fire home. Wickham scored in the 79th minute from the spot, but we had run away as 3-2 victors. And in the second leg, managed to draw 2-2 thanks to a 75th minute equaliser after going 2 goals down, and then a 101st minute winner thanks to Sunday Cole, who again has been here from League 2 and consistently scored goals. As a free agent from the non-leagues in Nigeria, Sunday Cole has progressed really well and been absolutely fantastic. And that sent us back to Wembley to face up against Oxford United. Alexander Smith grabbed the first. The second came from Super Luca Fletcher. And then Oxford grabbed their first of the game. And it was Giovanni Vianney, who was the star striker for me in the Copenhagen Moneyball Champions League winning side. Very random that this guy's playing League One football and just scored against us. But that was luckily their only goal of the game, while we just carried on banging them in with Luca Fletcher and Sunday Cole up top. We even saw a worldy free kick from Jay Ola from the edge of the area. And Sunday Cole got his Wembley goal in a 5-1 victory from the penalty spot. We weren't absolutely dominant in this game. In fact, looking into the match momentum, Oxford were the team on top for most of it, but we took our chances, and our 2-star strikers both grabbed a 9.1 average rating, and we have won the League One playoffs. And next season, in season number 9, we're playing Championship football with the mighty Town. Luca Fletcher, like we said, scored 26 goals, but it was our other 2 strikers that massively impressed. Freddie Draper, 22 in 24 starts, and Sunday Cole, 18 in 41. Nearly just called him Andy Cole. Maniga Promise, 10 and 5. Isaac Holland, 9 and 16. Alexander Smith, 4 and 10. But next season is where everything, again, really changes. This is such a huge rise from League One to the Championship. We're going to play Leeds, Birmingham, Sheffield United. We have overtaken Colchester United. And looking into teams relegated from the Premier League, Norwich, Fulham, and Nottingham Forest. These are the sort of sides the next season Braintree Town are going to be facing. So we knew that for our first season in the Championship, we were going to have to be absolutely elite when it came to the transfers. And even after me doing these transfers, we might be the worst team in the league by quite some distance. 350 to 1. And the predicted league table has us bottom with Plymouth and Salford. And we are going to struggle. But what I am going to say is this does look slightly different because there has been an update to FM since the World Cup mode came out. So bear with me because the skin isn't exactly perfect. It's the base version of the skin. But anyway, our transfers. First one, a loan signing. I think this is our first loan signing I've done throughout the entirety of this video. But it had to be done because we were really struggling to bring players into the club. Our reputation is still horrendous. So Michael Aves joins us from Norwich. Great speed, good crossing, okay defensive stats. Honestly, he's just a rotation option, and I really need him to just show up this season. And moving on from that, we spent a little bit of money this season. And Due is a goalkeeper signed from AFD Plateau, I believe in Ivory Coast. He has got an under-20 international cap, which is, of course, how I found him. Now that we are into this section where we have a little bit of money to play with, I am executing my standard sort of transfers that I do in most rebuilds, where we will look for under-19s based on expiring contracts or youth internationals or youth international appearances as well. And pretty much going through this, seeing if anyone's wanted, seeing by world reputation, seeing by nation, and just trying to see if anyone is coming in. And of course, scouting the world at this point is entirely crucial. So I'm hoping we can find some wonder kids throughout this video. Of course, the only issue is I'm not the manager, so I can't choose who plays. I'm kind of trusting that the manager we have, the manager we bring in, ends up playing these stars. Georgian Bomba is a Cameroonian centre-back with 7 under-20 international caps for 135,000. Fadel Diop from Diambars, for me, is one of the best youth academies on the game in Diambars. 5'9", great stamina, determination's good, first touch and dribbling as well. Daniel Azundu joins us from Macclesfield, an Italian but on a free agent contract, joining from the lower leagues of England. Friday Akano joins from Norwich, another decent left-sided centre-back, 6'5", on the lads. Neil Carney, a centre-back joining from Charlton, 19 determination, 6 foot tall. And then Ewan O'Brien joins from Glenavon, a right winger with electric pace, 16 agility as well, good crossing, and hopefully going to be really good for us. Now, of course, our current manager, Jay Rodriguez, is playing a 4-4-2 system, and we are hoping that he can carry that on and the incredible form that he showed at the back end of last season with the mighty Braintree Town to keep us in the championship. I mean, I've got to say, I absolutely love the steady rise we have been on. Promotion a couple of years, promotion a year, promotion a year, promotion. If we can go a year, even 2 years, and then promotion from the Championship to the Premier League, I'll be gobsmacked. But I think Super J Rodriguez can do it. Especially if our star players like Harry Evans, Fadel Diop, Alexander Smith, Sol Gordon, Ewan O'Brien, and Luca Fletcher can carry on or integrate into the team straight away. And well, I can't believe it, because J Rodriguez came into his form in the Championship and carried it on, absolutely smashing it as our manager all the way until November. And I can't believe we're sitting here saying this again, but our manager is wanted and is on the verge of being poached by Stockport. Now, Stockport are in our league. They sit down in 20th place. We are up in 13th, though, right now. And I would be devastated if Rodriguez left us to join Stockport, a club which have been on a similar rise as us, now up into the Championship, have been here for 3 years, and are looking to stay in. Oh, Jay Rodriguez, please don't leave us. But this game against MK Dons was Rodriguez's last. Just 2 days after being wanted, he has left us to join Stockport. And after getting us promotion from League One to the Championship and being on some insane form, Jay Rodriguez has jumped ship despite us finishing, well, starting the season above Stockport and already 8 points away from relegation and only 5 points away from the playoffs up to the Premier League. He's left us. Which means once again, we have got to trail through this horrendous list and try and find a manager that wants to help us. And the man we have chosen is Super Jackie Wilshere, a young 42-year-old manager who I think could stay here for a while and be our man. Of course, after being a coach at Norwich, he left there to stay at Luton until November 2028. Left there and joined Derby, where he stayed until 2032. And then had a spell at Sunderland and now joins us. And that means he's managed in the Premier League, Championship, League One, and he is incredibly experienced. And I think we've got the pull to be able to bring in someone like Jackie Wilshere. Now, he does play a 4-2-3-1 system, 4-3-3 out of possession. And to be fair, our team suits it pretty well. Of course, we keep Luca Fletcher up front, Jayola in the cam, Smith on the left, O'Brien on the right, Gordon Diop in DM, Alves, Martin and Bomba, Perez and Evans in goal. The team can do it. The rotation options aren't brilliant, especially attacking out wide and potentially a bit short in the midfield. But I thought Jack Wilshere was a bit of one of them managers who, I mean, he's a fantastic manager. Just 42 years of age at this point. Has had 9 years in management up until this point as well. And seems like a really good option I'm hoping Super Jackie G, not Jack Grealish, Jackie Wilshere, sorry, can stay here for the long term. He stayed at Derby for 4 years. He stayed at Luton for 3 years. Surely Jack can stay here at B-Town for a little bit longer. He didn't have the easiest start as Braintree manager away from home at Nottingham Forest, but managed to get a 1-1 draw. And then we lost 3-0 to his old club and even lost 2-1 to Jay Rodriguez's Stockport, but bounced back with a 3-2 victory against Blackburn. And while it's never ideal when a manager leaves you, I feel quite confident of getting Jack Wilshere in because the football we were playing was genuinely really nice and we were a pretty decent side. The reality of management in the Championship, League 1, League 2, non-league is that managers will get poached and will leave very, very often. We saw it with Jay Rodriguez, and it honestly wouldn't surprise me if we see it here soon with Jack Wilshere, because already he is wanted by Charlton, Ipswich and Wimbledon. But so far he is staying put, which is absolutely lovely. This director of football rebuild has been very different from the others, where I have to set the manager's goals and I'll sack them if needed. This has been the entire opposite. Managers set me goals. If I don't hit them, they leave me. Which, I mean, you can understand it really, can't you? We managed to finish this season in 14th place, which, again, I'm absolutely buzzing with. After promotion from League 1 to the Championship, I did not think we'd be finishing above Nottingham Forest, who were just relegated from the Premier League. We finished, obviously, a bunch of points, 16 off of playoffs, but 18 away from relegation. So, closer to playoffs than relegation in Season 1 of the Championship. That's pretty impressive. When you consider on a financial sense as well, we are spending nearly half as much as 23rd place Plymouth. It's incredibly impressive. And when we finished above Nottingham Forest, who was spending 30 million, while we are spending just 5.5, it's even more impressive. And what's even more hilarious is that Jay Rodriguez has been sacked from Stockport. Jay, I hate to say it, mate, you never should have left us because Stockport were always going to go down. Now, the one thing that I am quite worried about here is the fact that our finances are not brilliant. We are currently sitting 18 million pounds in debt, and I've not really noticed that. I don't know where that's come from. It's just kind of come into us, hasn't it, really? And, well, the bank balance keeps just dropping all the way down and then flying back up and then dropping all the way down and flying back up. But to be honest, we are a serious amount of money in debt. There is a board request right now which is building a brand new stadium. So it could be that. That's the debt, which I wouldn't hate, to be honest, because a brand new stadium would be very, very cool. Apparently only be completed in 2 weeks' time. So hopefully, for the start of next season, we have a brand new stadium to go into. And obviously, Braintree right now currently are playing at the Rare Breed Meat Co. Stadium. What a stadium name. But the capacity of that one is just 5,500, which for a club obviously on this crazy rise is not quite enough. We need a little bit more than that. So hopefully we get to a 15, 20k capacity stadium, which would be absolutely awesome. But I'm so far very, very happy. In no way did I expect 14th place in the Championship this year. It does just mean, though, that transfer-wise, we have got very little money this season. I mean, we've got 3k left in the wage budget, 140k left in the scouting budget, and 35k left in the transfer budget. Well, I was slightly wrong about the stadium. It's coming in 11 months' time, so we've got a whole season still in the 5,000 capacity stadium. But hopefully, once we get that stadium, we will obviously be able to raise a bit more money through gate sales, everything like that, which does mean transfer-wise, it is still pretty rough. We have spent all of our money. We are negative in wage budget. We have a little bit of transfer budget left, but to be honest, it was a hard season of transfers. I signed just 5 free agents this year. A young striker in David Crummond, a young left back in John Booker, who looks so average, Ruben Kamara as a potential striker in the future, 16 pace. It's okay, isn't it? Just 5 finishing though, which is a little bit ropey. Obviously, when we're doing these free agent deals, I can't really see too much information about them, so we are sometimes guessing on these. Callum Mitchell, a right back with good pace, which is good, but absolutely horrendous defensive stats. And then Jaden Heskey as a rotational central attack midfielder or potential DM. I'm really not surprised that we are still predicted as the worst team in the league. Even though we finished up in 14th last year, I think this season, we are really going to struggle. But once again, we managed to upset the odds and have a fantastic season in the Championship, especially from the midway point all the way up until the very end. We were one of the best teams in the league. And then Jack Wilshere left us to go and join Valencia, which I can't really complain about because we obviously had a very good manager and he's gone there to save them from relegation. It looks like he may have done that with them 2 victories. And to be fair to him, we left us with just 2 games to go and we were clearly safe and we won neither of them. And maybe we just had a very, very good manager on our hands. We finished once again in the Championship in 14th place on 60 points, which is, again, we are performing so far above where we should be performing. And it's not even due to the tactics because I'm not in charge of them. It's mental how well things are actually going, considering I'm just doing transfers. I really thought this would be virtually impossible to keep a club safe when the team stats and finances are genuinely this low in salary per annum. Barnsley are spending less than us, but other than that, we're miles away. But we're just doing a simply fantastic job, and I am genuinely absolutely buzzing with how this is going. So, of course, we searched and searched and searched on the merry-go-round and eventually decided that Frank Lampard was the manager for Braintree Town. And actually been on a very similar career path to that of Jack Wilshere. Was at a club for a long time. This time for Frank, it was Coventry. There was a few relegations and promotions in there from Premier League to Championship. Went to Norwich and kind of flattered to deceive and got sacked at the end of last season. So I've decided for him to come in here and saved us at Braintree Town. Super Frank Lampard. I mean, he wouldn't have grown up too far away from Braintree, being an East Londoner, I think he is anyway. So, you know, we take that. Yeah, born in Romford. You know, he's really not far away at all from Braintree. So, Super Frankie Lampard, come in and save us. He also plays a 4-2-3-1 system. Very good in terms of his managerial abilities. And I've actually made a change to him in terms of the editor. And I've changed his staff attributes. So he is like, where is it? An elite assistant manager and only an okay manager, in hopes that makes him stay for a bit longer. I know that's technically not the done thing, and I've not done that at all throughout this rebuild, but I really need a manager to stay with me here, and I'm hoping Super Frank can be that guy. Now, the great thing is the stadium has been built with a 15,000 capacity. And I think even more hilarious, it's called the Danny Cowley Stadium. Now, if you didn't know, Danny and Nicky Cowley were both at Braintree Town as their sort of management duo, probably what, 10 to 12 years ago now in real life, I would have guessed. And we have now got a stadium named after Danny Cowley. The fact it's not the Kempi Stadium is genuinely a sickening joke, but we'll take it. It's a great fact that we've got a big old stadium, though. That is very, very helpful for us. As you can see, they are both actually listed as legends of the club, which is very interesting. And now that we do have this immaculate stadium, I am hoping that over the next few years, I can try and improve the training and youth facilities to try and bring the whole club up an extra level, rather than it just being the fact that we've got this amazing stadium and the players train at the local park. I'm hoping we can try and fix everything to do with this club pretty soon. Now, in terms of the transfer history this year, a bit more money spent. Derlis Oviedo, a Paraguayan under-20 international, joins us as a left winger. 24 caps for them, 17 determination, great speed, good crossing, finishing, and genuinely is a player that, if we ever get promoted to the Premier League, would be good enough in my opinion. Caleb Gabamble is a striker, 20 determination, elite jumping reach, okay physicals, good finishing on him. Henry Agyekem is a free agent deal from Reading, and James Brown is a free agent deal as well at left back. A bit better defensively than some of the ones we managed to sign recently, while keeping the speed and crossing. Can also play at centre back as well. And then this season we had our first big sale, £1.3 million. Harry Evans left to join Getafe. We made him a 42 capped international for Wales. And of course, this is a player that came with us from the National League all the way to the Championship. So that feels pretty cool that we made a Welsh international who eventually went on to join a top-tier Spanish side. We also made the sale of Ange Doué to Everton for £3.3 million, which is unbelievable from us because he hardly played last season. But we have managed to get him back on loan for a year. And then I have signed Connor White from AFC Telford, who I think is even better than Ange Doué, but I've loaned him back to AFC Telford. He is English, 6'2", good jumping reach, area reach, determination, decent handling, etc. And come up through the Liverpool Academy on the game, went to Telford in the National League, played 45 games. We've signed him for 200k. He's gone back there to learn his trade again, while we have Ange Doué as our number 1 goalkeeper. And then he can come in next year and be our starter. Quite clever from me. I raised about £3 million of profit while managing to basically keep a similar quality of goalkeeper. This season, of course, we are still reliant on Luca Fletcher, who again has been with us from, I think, the National League, not National League South, just National League, and been insane for us throughout the whole video. So what an absolute legend Luca Fletcher has been for the club, and has actually been put into the icons category of Braintree Town alongside Super Brad Quinton. If you know about Braintree Town, you know about Brad Quinton, that's for sure. And we sadly are not anywhere to be seen just yet. The new owner is a favoured personnel and we're not. That's a joke. And now for once, we are not predicted as the worst team in the league because Colchester United have come up to the championship with us. Again, I find this absolutely brilliant. A local rival in Col U up against Braintree Town in the championship. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. Sheffield Wednesday, Hull and Birmingham are the relegated sides from the Premier League, while Stoke, Charlton and Col U are the ones from League One. We're no longer the worst team though. Col U are worse than Braintree and both are in the championship here in 2036. I suppose it's time to see what Frank Lampard's Irons can do here in the championship in our 3rd season in here. Well, Frank Lampard's Braintree were a tricky side to play up against, and in the Danny Cowley Stadium, we faced up against Colchester United early on into the season and absolutely smashed them. It was a 3-0 victory, and I've got to say, I'm loving this new Braintree Town. I'm also absolutely loving how Luca Fletcher is still just an absolute bagsman. Managed to win this game 3-0 against Col U, a 3-0 victory with goals from Fletcher and Oviedo, dominating the game in terms of chance creation and getting past our local rivals. And this season was genuinely just a really weird one. We won a bunch of games, we drew a bunch of games, but hardly lost any. And it feels like we were very close to putting everything together this year. 0-0s, 1-0s, 0-0s, 2-0s, 0-0s, 1-0s, 2-0s, 2-0s. That's like 10 draws in a 2-month spell. If we could just be slightly better defensively or score a few more goals, I genuinely feel like this year we'd have got to the playoffs. We finished in 11th place, 12 points away from Burnley, who finished in 6th. And we're actually very good. An upper mid-table side alongside Colchester United, by the way. So fair play to them, considering they will absolutely be the worst team in the league. But we managed to finish in the top half, which is absolutely fantastic. Relegated MK Dons, West Brom and Charlton. And again, just showing financially how well we are doing on our current salary. I would love to spend more money, to clarify. It's just simply not possible. We have got nothing in the tank whatsoever financially to go and spend loads. We are really having to do this, hiring fantastic managers like Frank Lampard and trying to build a squad that he can compete with. And I've got to say, he's done a fantastic job this year. In terms of star players, we are heavily carried by Luca Fletcher. 27 goals, 5 assists at 30 years of age. I really hope he stays with us until we get into the Premier League. Ruben Kamara, a free agent deal from a few years ago now. Very well rounded and has actually progressed into a really good player. 15 assists and 9 goals. Ewan O'Brien, also a free agent from Glenavon a few years ago. 12 assists and 3 goals. Jaden Heskey doing bits. Alexander Smith still here, absolutely smashing it. And then in goal, Ange Doué had a very good season this year, a 6.84 average rating. But of course, he is now going back to Everton, while Connor White comes back to us from AFC Telford. And out of pure interest, if we were to compare the two of them, Connor White, better physically, speed, mentally, not quite as good communication, similar eccentricity, not quite as good aerially, better distribution, not quite as good in shot stopping. So maybe not quite as good as Ange Doué, but does join the side as our brand new goalkeeper for the upcoming season. And well, financially, there's just not a lot to play with, to be honest. Thanks to the sales we made, we have managed to get things up to £9 million in the bank. And our transfer budget is sitting at 150k with a little bit of money in the scouting budget as well. and the debt only now at £6 million. But despite all that, I decided to do no transfers and have no one leave the club, as I kind of want to fix things financially, because if we go up into the Premier League with this current financial position of debt and being stuck in sort of a spell of not ever being able to compete, well, we're going to get absolutely battered. So I've decided to do no transfers for a season. Just stay safe, which I think we've proved we're a mid-table side. We can do mid-table once again, and hope that Super Frankie Lampard sticks around and helps us gain promotion, or just stay mid-table. That's all I want from your Lamps. I think having the difference, changing him as an assistant manager rather than as a manager who we put in as assistant manager, has made quite a big difference to how often he is looking to leave. He has been approached by a few clubs there last season. Bolton, most notably, were after him, but he decided to stay at the club. And I think while it is a little bit, I'm not going to say scummy to change it, because of course we are doing a director of football where the only way is to make them do this so they stay, I do think it makes quite a big difference. And if you don't like it, I apologise, but Super Frank Lampard looks like he's here to stay. And I'm absolutely buzzed at the fact that he did stay, because as I said, I felt like if we just turn some of them draws into wins this year, we could be on course for the playoffs. And that's exactly what we've done. The games which were 2-2, we now won 3-2. The games which were 0-0, we now won 1-0. And we even battered some teams like Burnley 5-1, Sheffield United 4-1. And a reminder, we're just a pub team from Essex. Little Braintree Town are battering teams which consistently yo-yo from Premier League to Championship. And it helped us finish 5th place in the Championship this year, which is absolutely incredible. And in the first round, we're facing up against Southampton, led by Ollie McBurney. Now for us, the first leg was going to be played at the Danny Cowley Stadium, and we got off to a fantastic start thanks to Luca Fletcher. And then we showed our dangerous counter-attacking ability as we grabbed a second thanks to this man, Danny Crammond, blocking the shot and them having absolutely no one in the defence. He drove bearing down on goal and finished it in to the bottom corner, making it 2-0 against Southampton. But there will be someone here eagle-eyed enough to see that our manager for this game was not Frank Lampard, but being managed by Jeff Henderson, who, I'll be honest, I had absolutely nothing to do with to bring into the club. He was a coach at Stockport, and the game I hired him to be our assistant manager because I didn't even see that Frank Lampard left us. He went to join Derby as their actual assistant manager because their real manager is Emerson. So he's not even actually managing the club either. Frank, what have you done? The question is, could we do it now at St Mary's? We just had to not lose the game. And honestly, it turns out Jeff Henderson might be the greatest manager of all time, and we really do not need Super Frankie Lampard. Fletcher grabbed the first, and then Oviedo grabbed the second just half an hour into this game. The third came from a delicious long ball from Jaden Heskey over the top to Luca Fletcher to make it 3. Fletcher then scored again to make it 4. And then Alexander Smith scored from the spot to make it 5. Yep, that's right. Away at St Mary's, we just stuck 5 past Southampton. How on earth have we done that? And how on earth is Luca Fletcher this good? 23 goals in the Championship this year. He came up with us from non-league all this way, and he just seems like an absolute legend. And the mighty Braintree Town are now going to the playoff final. The playoff final was known to produce magical moments, and moments which are simply unexplainable. Getting clubs into the biggest league in the world. And for us, we started that dream thanks to a header from Oviedo after a near wonder goal from Smith. But in this final, we were facing Sheffield Wednesday, who have been on a journey of their own over recent years. And in the 86th minute, they levelled things up as Amir Abragimov found Mulkas at the back post for 1-1. That sent the game into extra time and then to penalties, where backup goalkeeper Errol Richardson stepped in as the hero and saved the penalty from Mukasa. And another one as Bournemouth's Juan Soler tried a Panenka, and Richardson was there. It all came to backup central attack midfielder Henry Agyekum. If he scored this, Braintree Town were going to the Premier League. And of course, he scored it. And we have taken a pub team from Essex, a team which are in financial crisis in real life and are, let's face it, really shouldn't be ever climbing up the leagues like this as a director of football to the Premier League. We have just beat Sheffield Wednesday 1-1 on penalties with a interim manager in Jeff Henderson. What on earth is going on? This has been an absolutely incredible journey so far, with now 5 promotions in 12 years. Braintree Town are the new Luton, and we are going into the Premier League. A reminder as well, we just done that while making 0 transfers. Football Manager genuinely can be absolutely crazy at times. And it's really not like we played much better this season. In terms of goals, we were carried by Luca Fletcher. Oviedo grabbed 10 and 5. Ogyekam grabbed 7 and 5. O'Brien 7 and 19 assists. Kamara 6 and 5. But just as an entire club, we just played fairly average. Finished in 5th place and got promotion from the Championship. I mean, that is incredible. And the fact is, actually, we weren't even that far at one point of getting automatic promotion. We only finished 10 points behind Fulham. We finished 1 point behind Southampton, 1 point above of Oxford United, 1 point above Sheffield, 2 points above Reading and Burnley. So could have finished in 9th place this year, but managed to clutch up towards the end, despite drawing on the final day of the season, and are going to be going to the Premier League, which is insane. And it means that financially, we should theoretically be saved. Right now, there is only £4 million in the bank, but our transfer budget is 25 million. Our wage budget is 400,000, and we should now be able to absolutely fly in the financial side of the game. And of course, I've got to now go and find a brand new manager as well, because despite Jeff Henderson coming in as interim in this season and being a bit of a hero for us, I do want to bring in my own actual manager. The thing is here, we absolutely can get relegated and then get re-promoted, and financially it would actually make a lot of sense to do that. We're a club which are punching well above our weight right now, and if we can do a Luton, get to the Premier League, get relegated and not get relegated again, and ideally get instantly promoted, I'd actually be quite happy with that happening. And for some reason, the financial benefits of the Premier League haven't yet kicked in, and we are currently a negative £1.5 million in the bank. I'm waiting for the 80 million to hit the bank fairly soon, and we'll be absolutely fine. I mean, based on the projections, yeah, we're gonna be absolutely fine. Turnover's about to skyrocket up to 132 million, up 139. I mean, we're going to make some crazy money. Now, who remembers when Jay Rodriguez left us to join Stockport and then got relegated? Well, he then went on to manage Wrexham and done fairly decent there, and then went to manage Hibernian and won the Scottish Premier League in his first time of asking. So I brought him back. Jay Rodriguez, I accept your apology. You've apologized to me, and I say to you, let's help get Braintree Town to a Premier League side. Jay Rodriguez got us promoted from League One to the Championship, has then been on a journey as a manager and won his first major trophy, winning the Scottish Premiership with Hibernian, which is actually massive. And we have now taken him to be our new manager in the Premier League. I've tried to do my managerial appointments as realistic as possible, and I hope you guys can see that. I think we've done very well under Jay Rodriguez. We overperformed massively for, 2 years? Between 2032 and 2034, and now here in 2038, Super Jay Rodriguez returns, and hopefully can be the man to make Braintree survive. And of course, I've spent a fair bit of money to try and keep us in the Premier League. Now, a lot of these players are just regens, so I won't go too much in depth into all of them. We'll do a quick flick over on them so you guys can see the level of players we are bringing in. Christian McFarlane is a real-life left-back who we have brought in on a free deal. Luke Emerson joins us. Cyril Veersteg joins us. Daniel Stacey joins us. 4 free agents there, all coming in, still utilising that market heavily. Ian Martin is a giant. He's 6'7". Woo! From Southampton, and is absolutely fantastic. Abdelaj Nikolai is a good young French centre-back who looks brilliant. Bence Tonavasi is a Hungarian centre-back who looks great. Nikolai Pilograd is our hopeful new star striker who genuinely looks really good. And Jamaldeen Mehdawi is our potential future striker at 5'9" for £400,000. I spent £25 million. And like I said, I'm expecting that we get a bunch of money to come into the bank fairly soon. But we're in the Premier League, which is genuinely just insane. Season preview, we're the worst club. Who's surprised? Because I'm certainly not. Our best player is a free agent signing in Daniel Stacey. That says a lot about where we are as a club. Stoke, Fulham, Leicester, Birmingham, Wolves, Palace, Sunderland, West Ham, Brighton, Bournemouth, Liverpool City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Spurs, Manchester United in the same league as the mighty Braintree Town. Oh, it's incredible. And of course, this year we are returning for 4-4-2 football under Jay Rodriguez, which I, for one, am very excited about. I think the team actually looks very well-rounded. We'll go through each individual position. Connor White is our star goalkeeper. McFarlane is our brand new left-back with Emerson in at right-back. Thomas Avari should be our starting centre-back with Akano in there as our left centre-back. Diop in our box-to-box midfielder role in DM with Martin as the right DM. Dojkanovic plays over on the right wing. Elite pace and crossing on him with Brown as our left wing. He is, of course, a left-back as well. I imagine that is where he will most notably play. And then up front, we've got Meher Dawi and Pielagard up there as well. Of course, we have kept hold of Super Luca Fletcher. He has been on a journey with us all the way from the National League to now being a Premier League striker, which is absolutely incredible because it's a dream which he had all the way back here when he was joining Ipswich, joining Manchester City, played a game back in 2027 in the Premier League, and now here in 2038 comes back in after helping a club climb all the way up here, which is genuinely incredible of him. And now we're going to see how Braintree Town can do in the Premier League. This one is genuinely impossible. As someone who grew up as a Manchester United fan, I find it completely crazy that my little local club, Braintree Town, can now face them. Not only that, can score at Old Trafford, the biggest and best stadium in world football, against the biggest and best club in world football, and even grab a draw. Again, this is just absolutely incredible. And this is part of the reason I just love Football Manager. The stories you can create on Football Manager are unlike any other. And as a football fan, I always get so connected when I do these sorts of saves. And I managed to bring a small local club like Braintree Town up to the Premier League. For me, this is what Football Manager is all about. I'll be honest, it wasn't easy at all in the Premier League. We didn't grab our first win in August, in September, in October, or even in November. But once we grabbed that first win in a 91st minute winner against Bournemouth, they just kept on coming. And Braintree Town went on a simply fantastic run of form, beating teams like West Ham, Brentford, Newcastle, Wolves 4-0 at home, going away to Craven Cottage and winning 1-0, Palace 3-0 at home, Leicester 3-0 at home. And yet, it wasn't pretty away from home. We weren't a very good side at all. And even at home, the big sides like Chelsea would come and absolutely smash us. But we're Braintree Town, and we're staying in the Premier League. This season, we finished in 17th place on 34 points, but beating Leicester by an 8-goal difference, with conceding just 71 goals, scoring 40, and keeping our Premier League survival. Financially, we are spending £16 million a year on wages. That is 3 times less than Leicester and around 30 times less than Arsenal at the very top. Yet Braintree Town are Premier League survivalists this season. Our star signing, Nicola Pielagard, grabbed 22 goals and 7 assists this year and seems to be our absolute superstar, while Luca Fletcher has played 12 games at the bench and didn't score a single goal and is now probably leaving the club as he feels like it's time for a new challenge. But he's going to go down as a club legend. And genuinely, I'm gobsmacked at the fact that we have come up into the Premier League with this club and managed to survive. What that means financially is absolutely everything. We now have £72 million in the bank, transfer budget of £46 million. We've managed to improve the facilities to good training and average youth facilities, while of course keeping an immaculate stadium. We're actually now playing at the Marcus Stewart Stadium, which is rented, because we built the Danny Cowley Stadium never expecting to get Premier League football. So I'm guessing we're probably rebuilding that if I check out the board requests. We are indeed. It's being expanded over the next 12 months. And we'll be back at our home very soon. But it's pretty insane that Braintree Town are now a Premier League club. And the journey now is to take us from a Premier League surviving team to Premier League and Champions League winners. So I've got to go massive on transfers if I want to survive this year. So I spent £32 million because, of course, we are now a Premier League side. We have had a season surviving in the Premier League, but even after my transfers, well, we are still the worst club in the league. But to be honest, the most I spent on one player was just 8.25 million, and that was German left winger Connor Bigling with an under-21 cap for Germany at 20 years of age, coming in from Arminia Bielefeld. That seems like a bargain. Kazaya Gupta, I'm looking for him to be our big centre-back, scoring all the goals. 18 jumping reach, 6'6", on the absolute monster. Roman Nediak joins us from Benfica. 35 caps to Portugal under-21s. But I love how well-rounded his stats are and cost us just £6 million. He was transfer listed by Benfica. Scott Blake looks to be an insane young centre-back coming in from Lincoln. 3.8 million. He looks insane. 6 foot tall, 18 determination, good physicals, decent defensive stats at 18 as well. And obviously, just looks insane for that sort of price. Andrija Miljanovic, 3.6 million, a new striker. Wilson Geraldo from Americano de Cali is a right winger who we need to try and convert into a right mid, but looks brilliant for 1.4 million. Isaiah Taiwo coming in from Emangu Rangers, the Nigerian team. Very, very good place to try and sign wonder kids from. 450k on him. And then Malky Marks for 53,000, a young Scotsman with 19 determination joins the club. In terms of outgoings, absolutely nothing, which is very, very key for us having a chance to actually keep surviving here with Braintree and keep building on what we've got. I mean, looking into our best players, Geraldo goes straight in as number one. Piligrad and Verstig, two signings from last year, are the next two, with then Billigan, Ruben Kamara, Connor White is in there, Kazaya Gupta, Medellin, Fadel Diop, Nediak, Taiwo. The squad is just getting stronger and stronger, and in terms of average age, I think it's really easy just to go, let's go and sign all the wonder kids in the world and have a full squad built of under 21s. But genuinely, if we want to try and get to the next level and actually make Braintree Town a team that can win a Carabao Cup, an FA Cup, a European trophy, a Champions League, a Premier League trophy, you need experience as well, which is why I've been signing some of these prime players, 24 to 28, is kind of players when they're about to reach their prime or in their prime, and then up until sort of McFarlane down here at 32, they're going to stay in their prime as well. And that's what we need to survive. And again, scouting wise, that means using some MONEYBALL filters. That means using under 19 and under 21 international caps and youth caps, or even just simply coming in, going into your transfer search history, looking at players that are transfer listed with a really good reputation on general info, and seeing if there's anyone here that your scouts have managed to scout based on the recruitment focuses you've set up, like a Mauran Shibi from West Brom. Does he look okay? He looks decent. If he was playing somewhere in Spain or in Italy, or like Nediak at Benfica, it'd probably be like 4 million. And that's why we're able to sign some fantastic players this season for so cheap. And I think we've got a good chance next year. Obviously not of winning the league. Like I said, we are the worst club here based on the media prediction, but a good chance of survival again. And then from there, you never know. We could start to push up to a mid-table side in the next couple of years and become the new Bournemouth, Brighton kind of club. And then, of course, we'll go back into our brand new Danny Cowley improved stadium. But we knew this season was not going to be easy. And to be honest, our form was just genuinely horrendous to start this season. We've kind of lost the morale boost that you get when you get promoted. All your players are really happy. You then start a season really well and then it starts to tail off, but you're safe. Whereas for us here, that morale boost is gone and we were just struggling. It took some huge results against teams that we really should be beating to see us over the line, and even some huge upsets like a 2-1 victory against Chelsea with Nico Paz on the score sheet. But honestly, the only reason we were able to compete this year was Nikolai Piligrad having another outrageous season. A reminder, this guy cost us £3 million from Auxerre and has scored 39 goals in both Premier League seasons where he started every single game and this season scored a crucial goal against Brentford, which got us just enough points to survive. 1 point above Brighton on 34. We finished on 35, which is not a good season. Anything less than 40 points is not good, but we have survived once again. And as we know, as I keep saying, our salary is just crazy low for what we are doing. And I spent literally all of our wage budget last year, had 10 million left that I could possibly spend. We're just a really small club, which are slowly getting there. And we will get there eventually. This stage of one of these sort of director of football rebuilds or non-league rebuilds is always just the continuous grind and chug to get to the next stage. Of course, the good thing for us is just that Jay Rodriguez looks to have been happily settled at the club, and he looks like he's going absolutely nowhere, and he's smashing it as well. I mean, back-to-back seasons in survival, after, of course, winning it with Hibs a few years ago in Scotland. Jay Rodriguez is maybe taking something from Sean Dyche. We're playing 4-4-2 football, and now Jay Rodriguez, as a Sean Dyche disciple, is getting survival easily with Braintree. And we are starting to see massive benefits of being in the Premier League. Our bank balance is now £127 million, which is genuinely just insane. Throughout the whole of this rebuild, we have flitted between 2 million max to probably minus £5 million, being 20 odd million in debt, and now 125 million positive with zero debt on the club. I mean, it's crazy how good the finances are in the Premier League. And now I've got £58 million to go and spend, £200,000 in wage budget to spend. And we now get to play at the 25,000 capacity, all-seater Danny Cowley Stadium. That puts a big smile on my face. And again, what's going to help us massively in competing is not losing our star players. The only sale we made was actually last season in Ian Martin leaving for 11 million to Al Nassr. And of course, we replaced him with Gupta. And just slowly improving the squad, signing someone like Adi Hajbi and loading him back out to Maccabi for 1.2 million. Keron Prince is an English left winger, capped under 21s. £8 million from Chelsea, 10 million on Sebastiano Bataro, an attacking right wing back who looks insane mentally with loads of caps, the Argentinian under 20s. Jan Havel is a Czechie left back, is insane speed, good crossing, good defensive stats. And then Felipe, a Fiorentina. I'm going to play him as a right midfielder actually, with good physicals, good mentals and technicals. I say that, I've signed him to play right midfield. Of course, I don't actually get a shout in if they play anywhere. That's all up to Big J. But he is our best right winger based on what Football Manager is thinking, with our front two being Nikolai Pidigrad, of course, with Milanovic last season signing up front with him. Bilgin on the left, Felipe on the right, Nediak and Diop in midfield. Diop, someone now that's been with us since the Championship, £140,000 signed from Diambars. Like I said, if you guys aren't scouting in Africa, looking for these young talents who are having international caps at Senegal, Nigeria, or even just scouting Africa in general, do it. You can find yourself some bargains. I mean, this guy's wanted by Al Nassr as well, a value of £10 million, has played upwards of 200 games for the club now, through the Championship and the Premier League. For 140,000, that's insane. The defence is Botaro, Nikolai, Gupta, Blake, and Taiwo in goal. Blake last season played a few games for us, 38, of course, starting every game, 2 goals, a 6.52 though. Not exactly ideal, but Jay Rodriguez is trying to also bring the youth through, which is pretty cool. But for the first time in this Director of Football Challenge series, we're actually going to start setting goals for our manager, because Jay Rodriguez has been doing really well. Actually, he's been fantastic in both spells at the club, but he's never really had a goal to go and complete. So from now on, we are setting goals every single season for the manager. They have to hit. If they don't hit them, they get sacked. And for Jay Rodriguez this season, he has to hit 40 points as a minimum. Both seasons, we have just about survived. We've been spending a lot of money to get this club into a really good place. I mean, our balance is now at 100 million, but we've been up at 130 at some points. Our bank balance is kind of getting lower and lower as we are spending more and more money on wage budget. And Jay Rodriguez has to prove that he's the manager to take us to that next level. So he has to get at least 40 points this season. But can just ask a massive favour as well. If you guys haven't joined this Braintree Town journey, around 65% of you are not subscribed to the channel that have been watching. So please smash the subscribe button and like the video. And if you guys don't know as well, we are streaming over on Twitch and here on YouTube every other day from the start of the World Cup, doing a World Cup challenge, managing all 48 nations in 40 days, doing a random wheel spinner twice a day to attempt to win the World Cup with as many teams as possible. So please make sure you come along to that one starting at 2 p.m. on June the 10th. Well, it seems like you set Jerry Rodriguez a goal. He absolutely flies. We went on a run of going unbeaten for 6 games in the Premier League, winning 4 and drawing 2. And it's something quite momentous as someone from the area of Essex playing up against West Ham. To beat them at the London Stadium seems absolutely crazy, but also absolutely awesome to see Braintree Town show up here and grab the 3 points on the final day of the season. The question is, did Big J hit his 40-point mark? I'll be honest, he absolutely smashed it. In the Premier League this season, Braintree Town, 51 points. And in the top half of the Premier League, that is unheard of. And like I said, I am not doing anything tactic-wise. You can't as a director of football. This is all Jay Rodriguez, and he is just beating my expectations every single time. We are still, by far, the worst club in the league. All I'm doing is making transfers, putting into the club, and hoping that the managers we employ can go and smash it. And they're absolutely smashing it. I mean, salary per annum, 37 million. Again, nearly half of 19th, 18th, and 17th. 10 times less than first place Chelsea. I had no idea when I was starting out, when I was in the National League South, that I'd stumble across Jay Rodriguez to be the best manager ever in a director of football series. If you guys have seen anyone better, let me know. But this guy genuinely has carried us through the championship phase, ended up leaving us in a really annoying fashion, going off, working on his career, coming back, and he's just absolutely brilliant. We're playing a simple bog standard English 4-4-2. Sean Dyche would be very proud. And while we were a whole bunch of points of potentially getting into Europe, we were on 51, 8th was on 59, and realistically 3 points less, we're down in 13th with Manchester City, which is absolutely hilarious. It's still a massive improvement on the fact that we just scraped through Survivor of a couple of seasons, and now we're here. It's like I said I wanted to try and be the next Brentford, the next Brighton, and we've managed to take a massive leap in doing that this season. Goal scorers-wise, Milanovic grabbed 14, Pili grabbed 14, and I love that. We're not so reliant on just one striker, and Hajbi, who was out on loan last year, scored another 15 goals in the Israeli leagues, and I'm hoping he can come back to us and absolutely smash it. Daniel Stacey in midfield, 9 goals, 7 assists. Roman Nediak, 5 goals in 41 games. A reminder, a £6 million signing, transfer listed by Benfica, now value of 33 million, wanted by Marseille, Villarreal, Al Rayyan, and it's just insane value. And potential-wise, because of the transfers that I've been making, we've actually got some really high potential players here, which can go on to do pretty much anything in their career. The only worry I have, we're going to get to a point where all of our star players are going to start to leave, and I worry that could be really soon. How about right now? At least we raised 150 million in player sales, but we've lost Taiwo, our starting goalkeeper, Scott Blake, our wonderkid centre-back, Naniovic, our star striker, and Roman Nediak to Premier League rivals Arsenal, but the profit is actually mental. And as the director of football, that's something I have to do. I have to just try and get the club into an elite stage without completely murdering it. And while our overall balance is 250 million. And while our transfer budget looks like I've spent every single last penny which came through, we actually have 0% transfer revenue available. So every single thing I've sold, I've not seen a penny back from it. We even saw the sale of Fadel Diop finally leaving to Al Nassr this season, where he now goes and earns £100,000 a week. But honestly, I like the fact that I don't get loads of money to go and completely break the game, because this would be too easy. And this is on hard mode in Director of Football itself, so now it's ultra hard mode, replace everyone and carry on going. So I've signed Cristiano, not Ronaldo, a 6'7" Brazilian right back, left back, and centre back with 15 determination and 20 jumping reach. Israel Amador is my star striker, 6'3", great jumping reach, bravery, finishing, decent composure, 19 years of age, 9 caps for the Spanish under-21s. I have got to get meta and sweaty if we want to try and do anything in this challenge, because as we've seen, our stars will get poached. So the Erling Haaland build of strikers, yeah, we're going to start trying to bring some of them in. Giovanni Leone joins us from Arsenal. Experienced centre-half, £2.5 million. And Alexander Ferreira joins us as a great young goalkeeper from Brazil. That is not all. Don't worry. We have some free agents. Ethan Bruches joins us from Ipswich on a 3-agent deal. Steve Seiss joins us from Union Saint-Gilloise on a free agent deal. 17 pace on a left winger or potentially striker. Javier from Villarreal is a right back on a free agent deal as well. Nejuan Sanabria is a £15 million future signing. 19 years of age, under-21s for Argentina capped, elite mentals, good physicals, great technicals as well. It's an expensive deal, but it's the sort of one which, you know, this guy could have the 190, the 200 potential. And then Shurkan Kalamazura is my new goalkeeper, and I've gone with experience. 34 years of age, incredibly slow, but 21 on ones, 19 reflexes, good goalkeeping stacks elsewhere, great mentals, and is a 34-year-old Kazakhstani, which means he's a real player playing at Kairat on our game in real life. And he's just developed really well in this save. Gone to Al Riyadh, Lille, Manchester City, went to Southampton, was the starting goalkeeper. Last season in the Premier League, a 6.99, £11 million to get us a really good goalkeeper. It makes good sense to me because he's going to have another 3 or 4 years left in him anyway. And I think he's brilliant. And even though we've lost a bunch of star players, I don't feel like we've got much worse. We've actually just kind of replaced some of the young players we've sold with great experience. You know, Taiwo was our young, good goalkeeper. We brought in an elite player for right now. We obviously had Scott Blake as our star centre-back. We went and signed 34-year-old Giovanni Leone, who has 16 natural fitness and still decent speed, allowing us to still develop a few young centre-backs, and then bringing in some of them stars, a new striker, new central midfielders, the whole lot. We are, of course, still predicted as the worst team in the league. I genuinely don't know if that ever changes, and I think a lot of it could be down to the reputation of the club. Still just a national known side, apparently. Same as like Coventry, Everton, Bournemouth, but then you sort of have everyone else that's going to be continental, and I don't know if we'll ever get to the point where we're actually respected enough to where everyone will see us as a challenger, but for now, I don't mind it. We're the underdogs every single season. And then honestly, because of our huge sales this summer and obviously needing players to come in and adapt, I can't be too harsh on Jay Rodriguez. I'm looking for, I'm not going to say 50 points again, but between 12th and 8th place. If he gets better, insane. But if he's a minimum of 12th and up, I'll see that as a good season. Probably won't be getting sacked unless he gets less than 45 points, to be honest. I'm expecting Jay to do well with the players we've given him, and I'm hoping he can prove us right. But he just continues to impress. He might be the best manager of all time, and keep an eye out in the future for Super Jay Rodriguez to be the new Sean Dyche. I'm not being funny, he's just got a whole bunch of new signings, lost a bunch of star players, and just went and had pretty much the exact same season again. And our new signings come in and gelled instantly, which again, someone like Jay Rodriguez has got to be given credit for. And then I'm taking credit on the £1.2 million signing of Adi Hajbi because this guy is an absolute bagsman. 17 goals at 20 years of age this season. And helped us finish all the way up in the dizzy heights of 7th place in the Premier League. 7th. Now, that's absolutely insane. 56 points. Of course, Jay Rodriguez keeps his job. And I'm surprised he's not wanted by anyone else just yet. My main issue right now is 7th place doesn't look like European football, which is genuinely so annoying and ridiculous. We were only 12 points off 2nd place Newcastle and 20 points off the top of the title. A ridiculously tight Premier League season by the looks of it, but 7th not getting Champions League seems genuinely wrong. There's a chance here of UEFA Conference League playoff depending on the FA Cup winner. Oh no. That was Aston Villa by the looks of it, who finished in 15th. I tell you what, a Conference League run this season would have been absolutely generational. But Villa win the FA Cup And despite finishing 7th, we have no European football. That's a sickening joke. I mean, financially, it's not like we need European football. And of course, Conference League is just one of them things which kind of gets in the way. But it would have been our first official trophy won. Because while this has been a fantastic run up the leagues from the National League South to the National League to League 2 to League 1 to the Premier League and Championship eventually, and then even this, a nice rise up now into a potentially European side. We haven't actually won any trophies. Still 3 Eastern Counties, an Isthmian Premier, and a National League South to our name. And I would really like to change that. And as you guys know, I think this is the easiest trophy to win on the game. And it would have been lovely to become European champions as Braintree before we hopefully eventually become Champions League winners in the form of the Conference League. But that's not the case. And there's no point in grumbling on it. Let's go and improve the squad some more. £88 million transfer budget, £1.3 million wage budget. Yeah, let's go have some fun. Of course, also, as my job as director of football, it is very, very important that I don't let the club stagnate and I make the right decisions at every single turn. But I am still very aware of protecting the financial situation of the club because things can go very wrong very quickly in football. Now, don't worry, I've made some brilliant signings in my opinion. I'm just not going crazy just yet. We're not at a point where I think we can win the league soon. I think we're still in the building phase. So I've signed 4 players, all fairly young. 20-year-old striker, Tommy Kvist, 16 pace, 6 foot tall, 16 finishing, coming in from Copenhagen. Ferran Marcos joins from Boca. He is a French right winger. Not from Boca, sorry, from Show for £12.5 million. Good determination, first touch, dribbling, technique, work rate, and good speed. 5'6", 18. Thomas Jacko, 650k. This is a ridiculous signing from the next-gen Juve side. Found him because of his caps for Slovakia at a young age. Signed there for 1.8 million from Slovan Bratislava. Never really broke into the Juventus team. Played a game, a season at Montpellier a few years ago. But now 650k for a player of this quality is stupid. And then the free agent deal of Doja Gabel, a Turkish centre-back, free agent, 1 cap for the Turkish national team, value of £42 million, just didn't want to sign a brand new contract over at Besiktas, and some of his average ratings are insane. So he joins us as well. And this season, the good thing of 0 outgoings. And I'm now starting to get to a point where I think this squad is genuinely really good. No longer like we are the 20th best team and Jay Rodriguez is just doing absolute wonders. I actually think we're now like a Crystal Palace-esque 14th to 8th, can compete in cup competitions, have a magical FA Cup run, a Conference League run, something like that. Because there is a lot of star players in here and a lot of experience. We know Kalmazura, of course, at 35 years of age now, brings that experience. Stacey has been here for, I think, 4 seasons, now 28 years of age. Like a regen Jordan Henson almost for us. Bruchez is 34, experienced in the Premier League. Our 2-star strikers, both young and exciting. Israel Amador, now a Spanish capped international, and now the new Tommy Kvist. Cano Biglin has been insane since he joined from the German side. Amonia Byfeld. Marcos, our new right winger, looks brilliant and is 18. And the defence is insane. I mean, Nikolai, we signed this guy so long ago. In terms of career stats, £7 million from Laval in the second tier of France. Last 3 seasons been our starting centre-back. He's just getting better and better. I do think he'll start to get caps for France soon. Is wanted and wants to move to a bigger club. Wanted by everyone, which normally is a really good sign for your stars. We just need them not to be poached like they were a few seasons ago. Now, finally, in terms of the media prediction, Braintree are 15th. We are no longer by far the worst club in the league on media prediction. We are the 15th best club, which, I'm going to say it, is a massive well done and congratulations to myself. I've actually managed to get this club to this point. And of course, a huge round of applause to Super Jay Rodriguez as well. This season from him, I want European football. If that comes in the form of winning a cup competition, that's fine. If that comes in the form of finishing top 7 and you make sure, I mean, to be fair, if we get 7th place and not Europe again, it'll be okay. But I really want European football for season 17. Sorry, season 18 even. We are so far in the future. A reminder that I won the Premier League and Champions League in 19 seasons with Enfield when I was the manager from the National League all the way to Champions League winners. I'm very interested to see if we do better as director of football or worse. Now, one thing I can say with absolute certainty is I have got better with transfers. Since December, I've learned a lot, and my God, have we come a huge way. Here we are away from home against Spurs, with Marcos grabbing the first and Kvist grabbing the second, absolutely battering Spurs. I mean, this was away from home. We had 13 shots to their 11, a better XG, and counter-attacked him like a dream. And Jay Rodriguez's 4-4-2, it's just insane. I've got no words for what this man is doing with this club. It's insane. And he could even have a chance of lifting a trophy this season. In the third round, we beat Liverpool on penalties. In the fourth round, we beat Manchester City 1-0, knocking out two absolute giants early on. Quarterfinals, beat Southampton on penalties, again sneaking through. And in the semi-finals, beat Spurs on penalties, sneaking through. And we were facing up against Championship Preston. So surely this looks like the freest cup win of all time to finally lift the trophy 17 seasons into this director of football rebuild. Well, Marcos drove to the right-hand side on his own, went solo and made it 1-0. But Preston were here for a reason. They were the team which has upset everyone and got to the final despite playing Championship football and levelled things up. But Set Piece FC Braintree grabbed the third and final goal in this game in a 2-1 victory, with Nikolai winning the header and making Braintree champions of the Carabao Cup here at Wembley, lifting our first trophy 17 seasons deep. It has taken a hell of a long time, but Braintree are officially major trophy winners. And it wasn't like we snuck past either. We deserved to batter them. 23 shots to their 6, 66% possession, and Braintree are cup winners. So we are certainly playing European football next season. The question is, what competition? Well, our form towards the end of the season was genuinely incredible. After winning the Carabao Cup final, we had a Manchester City-esque morale boost. Win that game and everything changes. And we went pretty much unbeaten until the final day of the season, where we lost 1-0 to City. So they jumped above us into 4th place, finishing on 73 points, while we finished in 5th on 70 points, above Liverpool, Birmingham and Newcastle. And being in 5th, the purple icon makes you think Europa League football. But I've just had a news article, and Braintree Town qualify for the Champions League. Braintree Town, Champions League. What on earth have we done? The signings this season were brilliant, but also the signings of previous seasons just stepping up. Israel Amador, 20 and 5. Tommy Kvist, 20 goal contributions. Ferran Marcos, 8 and 7. Cano Biglin, 4 and 14. And average ratings-wise, we're seeing players like Sebastian Botaro, the right-back we signed years ago, 40 games, 1 goal, 6 assists, a 7.03. Gupta, a 6.99. Nikolai, a 6.99. Doja Gabriel, a free centre-back as a rotation option, a 6.98. Is the exact signings I've been looking to make from the very start. They're all starting to work. And financially, going into a Champions League season as Carabao Cup winners, we have got a serious amount of money to play with. And I think I've got to go big. So I spent £104 million over the course of the 2 seasons. Sadly, FM sometimes did this, but around 70 million was spent this year, taking us to that Premier League challenging level. And of course, by the way, Jay Rodriguez smashing everything. Of course, again, completing his goal of getting European football. I mean, better than I ever could have expected. And going into this next season, his goal is a Champions League fight. I know we're in Champions League football. I want him to fight to be in the Champions League again. He doesn't have to get it, but if we're like 10 points off the Champions League, I'll have a decision to make. If we are comfortably in it, Jay Rodriguez stays again. And it's because I've got to say I've made some fantastic signings again. Argentinian left wing back and right wing back can play both sides, electric speed. Ricardo Bernardes from Rayo Vallecano, 22 years of age, another rotational right winger. Joe Toot is an English striker from Freiburg. Insane physicals, great finishing composure, elite determination. Just need so many options now we're in Champions League football. And Kieran Rogers, an experienced Welshman coming from Newcastle, playing centre-back or right-back. And I think that's it in terms of transfers. Outgoings-wise, Cyril Verstig, who was one of our first signings in the Premier League, leaves on a free, and Felipe leaves as well, joining Cologne for £23.5 million. A nice bit of profit on him, and financially, we've made this superstar Brazilian owner, João, incredibly rich. And we've even got to the point now where with Braintree Town, we have a 25-man squad going in to the Champions League. I'm no longer just signing 2 players per position. I actually need more rotation options, more youngsters to come in and help, and more players in their prime. Braintree Town in the Champions League. The media predict us down in 14th place, which again is fair enough. I do expect this season isn't a top 4, top 5 finish. I do expect we're in a Champions League fight. If we get top 7 European football again, and like I said, he's within 10 points, Jay Rodriguez does keep his job, because the difference now of playing midweek and weekends is massive. Now we're going to kick things off in the league here because something genuinely ridiculous has happened. We finished in 5th place, 61 points, actually 9 points off our points tally last season, but securing Champions League football just behind Stoke. But a brilliant season nonetheless. But where things are going to get crazy is the Champions League. We got top 8 and top 4 in the league phase unbeaten. We beat Borussia Dortmund 3-0 away from home. PSG 4-0 away from home. Clubs like Feyenoord were for some reason more of a challenge, but still getting past them, and even drawing away at the Metropolitano to Atletico Madrid. Meaning we were going on to the round of 16 where we faced Marseille and beat them 4-0 away from home in the first leg, sending us straight to the quarterfinals. And this is a very good Marseille side who are managed by Dion Sanderson of all times as the 2nd best club in Ligue 1, who with PSG, who I think have won it basically every single season so far, who we beat 4-0 as well. And the quarterfinals are facing up against Portuguese giants Porto and drew 1-1 in the first leg. But in the second leg at the Danny Cowley Stadium, Braintree Town showed up. An early goal made it 1, a goalkeeping mistake made it 2, and then a third from Joe Toop finished it off. And we were going to a Champions League semi-final with Braintree Town and Jay Rodriguez as our superstar manager. If he actually goes now and wins a Champions League, Jay Rodriguez needs statues, knighthoods, literally everything. And in the semi-finals, we were facing up against Bryce Samba's Manchester City and drew 2-2 in the first leg, with Big Lynn grabbing a brace for us, and they just about snuck the draw on the 85th. And then back at home, they took the early lead thanks to a set piece, making them the leaders. But just before it looks like we were out, Israel Amador scored to send it to extra time, and then Super Tommy Kvist managed to score after an insane run and pick out from Hajibi to make it 2-1. And we had got past Manchester City 4-3 on aggregate and were now going to a Champions League final, facing up against the most historic club in football history, Real Madrid, back managed by Xabi Alonso. And again, this is where I've got to take some credit because Tommy Kvist might be the best signing I've ever had in football manager history. His first, an insane free kick into the top corner. His second, a left-footed effort in off the crossbar. And to complete his hat-trick and the final goal in a Champions League final, it was a 6-foot effort into the back of the net. And Braintree Town are Champions League winners, beating Real Madrid 3-0. Again, I've got absolutely no idea what has just happened, but from absolutely nowhere, we have managed to take Braintree Town to Champions League winners. And this was meant to be the end of the video, but we've not won the Premier League yet. Jay Rodriguez, what are you doing to me, man? I mean, this game, again, we deserved to win. 3 shots from them, 12 from us. They had 0 shots on target. And Tommy Kvist grabs a Champions League hat-trick. 27 goals and 8 assists this season in 46 games. And was a £22 million signing. Again, I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but these transfers have been incredible. I do fully recommend, if you guys are looking to try and make transfers on the same level, check out the Patreon down below. The Wonder Kid filters, the non-league filters. There's loads of things over there, the PDFs that will help you out massively, including Moneyball as well. And they will help you entirely change your Football Manager transfers game. And you can potentially do something like this as well. Now, we've won the Champions League in 18 seasons. The team is looking very, very strong. Strikers are smashing in goals. Jay Rodriguez is keeping his job forever now. And we are at a point where the next step just has to be win the Premier League and gain that consistency. Because we were 29 points at the top of the Premier League this season. It wasn't our best season ever, but we've won the Champions League. I'm genuinely gobsmacked that I've managed to actually get Braintree Town to this level as director of football. And I just now have one job left. So I spent £115 million on players that I believe can take this club to the next level and make us Premier League champions. A new goalkeeper in Conrad Punsi coming in from PSG for 13 million. Experienced and elite in everything. Hani Esmalda, a £56 million 30-year-old central midfielder who I think takes us to the next level. Kamil Siska, a centre-back from Manchester City, £28.5 million. And then an insane regen coming in from Salford. 2 caps for Scotland at 18 years of age. This guy just looks like a joke. And I signed him for you guys that do want to pick the save file up on the Patreon. It is all linked on the Patreon down below. If you want to become Braintree Town Director of Football, or even if you want to change it now to become the manager, 19 seasons or 20 seasons, however long it takes for us to win the Premier League, you can do that on the Patreon down below. And you can use Ayala, who looks incredible. So this is Jay Rodriguez's Champions League winning side going in to attempt to win the Premier League. And his only goal is have a title charge this season. The one thing we had to change this year was our form. And that's something we perfectly fixed in all competitions. As from February all the way to the end of April, we were unbeaten in the Premier League, the Champions League, and the FA Cup. This video just simply wouldn't have been right if I didn't win the FA Cup with Braintree Town, a club which starts in the National League South. But here it is in season 19, thanks to Tommy Kvist, making us 1-0 winners against Liverpool. So we have now lifted the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and Braintree Town have just one trophy left to see if we can complete the full house. In the semi-finals, you saw at the bottom of the fixture scroll that we beat Spurs 4-1 in the Champions League. And I can't quite believe I'm saying this. Braintree Town are back-to-back Champions League winners. Bilgin grabbed the first, and then Israel Amador found Hajibi in the middle for the second. And while Atletico Madrid grabbed a goal back in the 83rd minute, Braintree Town were Champions League winners again. And Jay Rodriguez needs to actually be studied. Because after this victory against Brighton and Hove Albion on the final day of the season, it was confirmed that Braintree Town had completed the most historic thing that a club has ever done. The treble. We had won the Premier League this season as well. We have lifted the FA Cup this year, the Champions League, but we have completed the Braintree Town Director of Football Challenge in 19 seasons, getting them to lift every single major trophy here on Football Manager 26. My local club, which is on the verge of, who knows? There's a transfer embargo, the owners are struggling to raise investment, and the club has just been relegated. That's a real dark place for a club to go into. And in 19 years here on Football Manager, I've turned them into Premier League champions, Champions League winners, FA Cup winners, and the mighty Braintree Town are the biggest club in world football. This has been an absolute rollercoaster journey. If you guys enjoyed the Director of Football from non-league to this, please make sure you smash the like button. Please subscribe to the channel. This is the biggest video we have ever done. So please smash the support. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Because yes, there will be more Director of Football challenges. There will be bigger and better videos. And your guys' support is what makes that all happen. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll speak to you next time.